I am a tyrant that you should trust, and you should let me run your life. Because I do know what is best for you.
Is a healer. I don't wanna give it time. I want everything the way it was before you walked in my life. Time might give the answers. I don't wanna waste more time. I want everything the way it was before you walked in my life. Now moving on, gonna get on with my life. Now moving on, moving on, moving on. Now moving on, gonna get on with my life. Now moving on, moving on, moving on. Inside out, upside down, inside out, inside out.
begins. Begin war. War. Begin war.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us through that early delay. We are ready to kick things off for the VGL Autumn Challenger Series once more. My name's Darcy. I'm joined by a beautiful set of British casters, Jaws and Scoundrel once more, to decide which of these teams will be heading to the VGL playoffs, which we'll be playing next week. Jaws, it's good to have you back. Going to be an exciting set of matches as always.
Yeah, that it will. I mean, Monkeys coming off, E-Monkeys, I should say, coming off quite a disappointing loss yesterday, and Fnatic on an all-time high, in all honesty. So we'll see if they can keep rolling through that losers bracket. But E-Monkeys really need to step up their game today.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be kind of the story of E-Monkeys. They've got a large roster. They've been playing with a lot of substitutes today. They're also going to be playing with another substitute, Voldemar, not making it to the match on time. So they brought in Romgem's Sword. How do you feel that's going to affect them, Scoundrel?
Difficult to say, Dalsy. I don't think we've seen enough of them playing. We don't know how they've sort of functioned as a roster up until now. When it comes to VGL, even though there is an element of sort of team synergy, a lot of it is just almost sort of blending in your solo queue performances, and I think there is some teams that take it super seriously, but this team, if they've been subbing in people in and out, it'll be like they'd be playing threes in solo queue at this point in time. So I think we've not seen enough of them to know how it'll affect their performance, but if it's not their main roster, we can only assume it's going to be worse than normal. But is that going to be enough for the Fnatic Gaming roster to step up? Because they've looked incredibly good, especially Bruto. Incredibly impressed with Bruto. And you can see the respect band for Issy, the Lance, coming out here, Dalsy.
Yeah, no, the Lance was such a crucial pick for the side of Fnatic Gaming. Issy just performing very, very strong on it. We saw it yesterday. Unfortunately, their series cut short via the broadcast, but hopefully technical difficulties won't be occurring today, as a lot of testing has been done to make sure they won't. Are going to see. That's a lot of touch wood, I see.
Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just hitting all the wood. That actually might have sounded a little bit.
Course of action.
I just realised how that might have come out on broadcast, but I was actually hitting.
You could be excited to cast VGL.
I was just hitting the desktop.
Right. Moving on swiftly, it is going to be Lantidrus banned. Catherine and Grace locked in instantly. Have to see if Fnatic Gaming prioritize a highly contested laner or a jungler. I love this Black Feather pick if they go for it, but we'll have to see if they lock it in.
I would imagine Black Feather over Sky because of the sort of the prevalence of the Scarf and the Celeste picks, especially on A side. They consider them a moderately safe lane pick in these instances. This kind of makes you double take about what you want to try and take into the lane. Now Celeste and Scarf are a little bit more scary. Scarf less so. Scarf has got a bit more dueling potential against the Black Feather, but Celeste definitely incredibly weak to the Black Feather, and there we go. The Petal gets locked in.
Yeah, there's some discussion about Petal. It was brought to light by some of the professional players in the scene that there is this bug, which if Petal has her minions stand on top of her, she cannot be easily targeted by a weapon power melee or melee hero. SEMC decided not game-breaking enough to ban, so here in VGL it will not be banned. And personally, and I think you can talk to this maybe a little bit later in the game, Scoundrel, I don't think it's going to actually be a problem for the likes of a Black Feather, especially if they lock in a Scarf or a Celeste right now. That Petal probably not really going to have too much of a power.
Yeah, I think I'll talk about it in the game. The bug is definitely significant in some ways, but I don't think significant enough to warrant picking Petal blind. Like, Petal is very weak to the likes of Celeste and Scarf, and even Samuel to an extent now because of the AoE clear of the minions. We'll talk about it a bit in game. I will go over what the Petal bug exactly is and how it interacts, but it didn't work out for E-Monkeys when they picked it yesterday, Dalsy. They got slaughtered. So, we'll have to see if it sort of has any difference here.
Yeah, and E-Monkeys, I think, a team that knew the bug existed yesterday, considering they A-side banned it. But when they did pick it, they lost their match 2-0 to their opponents. So we'll have to see if they can make this Petal work. We're going to be jumping onto the Halcyon Fold for this matchup. Winner of this series into the playoffs. Jaws, take us away.
Thank you very much, Dalsy. E-Monkeys getting their second chance to get to that playoff spot. Now, you did say, and rightfully so, Petal was banned by Monkeys yesterday on A side, and then B side they did end up picking it, but it was a little lackluster, Alexandra.
Well, okay, so the Petal bug right now is a bug that actually exists with the minion coding in Vainglory, in the sense that minions take priority of basic attacks over heroes, and it's something that Vainglory, I believe, have fixed, so I think that it's coming in the next update, there'll be a fix for it. But, Petal has minions, obviously, and they are coded as minions. So the bug is that if Petal's minions are sitting on Petal, it's impossible to basic attack Petal as a weapon power carry. But to actually have that function properly in a teamfight situation, you actually have to be not attacking anybody with your basic attacks whatsoever as a Petal, because otherwise your minions will flee from you and then will attack the target that you're attacking. So it's a very specific bug that doesn't really have huge amount of competitive viability in teamfights. Wait a second, Issy went in for the steal but failed. We'll have to run away with the boots here, Jaws.
Yeah, completely failed to get the steal. Did try and Benediction in, try and get the AoE off, but it didn't end up working out. Actually, in fact, Petal did steal that one away, or just secure it. Although Kai's in a lot of trouble, actually rotating down towards the lane. That was a really interesting pass towards the mustache brush. That'd be first blood going over Fnatic Gaming.
Interesting is caster code for bad. Yeah, I mean, you knew Black Feather was farming. You probably saw him walking into the mustache brush and you just walked down. They aren't done with their aggression just yet, though. Bruto does get the healing camp here, Jaws, but they're still going.
They are still going. They want to find a little bit more of this. Bruto is going to fall here. They do end up taking the camp away as well. So trading 1-for-1 there, as they knew Lanes was actually just up back in the lane, leaving Issy and Bruto to just guard those back camps. Petal, the early lane, and the early damage she gets from her minions and having 2 of those crystal bits already showing prowess.
Yeah, Lane Easy just going to go clear out these backs and probably back off after this. Good move from him, and I imagine Samuel will rotate to lane himself just to make sure that the wave doesn't push into the tower. Oh, the turret, rather, sorry. But Lane Easy's going to be able to get some recuperation for that massive invade coming out from Espetano and Ron Gemsword. And you could see there that wasn't, you know, Petal's minions were away from her body then, so that was just a really good invade from Rom Gemsword and Esparto. Nothing to do with the bug whatsoever. But obviously, it's important to note that the bug could have influencing factors in early jungle trades, if you're a melee carry especially. And E-Monkey's going to continue their aggression here.
Yeah, speaking of jungle trades, that's going to be a Holy Nova straight onto the Petal. She tried to use that trampoline away. Rom Gemsword will get the stun onto Bruto, activating that Storm Shield as well. She's just going to cut him up, taking a little bit too much damage from the turret. Ends up falling to Issy. So at least they trade 1-for-1 in that regard. But Estano trying to go underneath the turret. Can the minions finish her off? Yes, they can. One little bite to the ankle, and she will end up going down. So actually a 2-for-1. It's going to be in favor of E-Monkeys. And yet again, like you said, just taking away these back camps.
Yeah, they actually really responded well to... Ooh, Bruto actually gets that there. He's going to continue the pressure with the Drifting Dark. Espetano will have to be careful.
Espetano. Oh, there you go. Madison Verdict finishes off the kill. And once again, yeah, maybe a little bit over-aggression there. Staying a little bit too long, knowing the death timers on that Samuel were quite low.
Nice on point by Lane Easy. He's also got that healing flask, but I think he's taking a fight that he maybe can't win.
All right, okay, it's 3 kills, 4 kills to 3 right now as Kai ends up taking the extra kill on Lane Easy up in the lane. Ron Gemsword coming in to help with that one as well. There's a 3-1 now on this Captain Catherine.
Yeah, Catherine getting a lot of gold behind her. Not necessarily a bad thing. Catherine is one of the more carry-heavy captains in the game because of the influence of her double blast tremor and how tanky she can get in the front line with some items behind her. So it's not awful to have your gold going onto her, but you definitely would prefer it to be on Espetano or either Kaima Bry especially. Espetano working towards what is going to either be a Frostburn or a Shatterglass. Shatterglass is kind of the North American adopted build. Europeans still love to consider Frostburn first on most of their CP carries from the jungle. But it's really sort of, I would say, situational dependent here, Jaws. Apologies if anyone thinks I sound incredibly ill. I'm not actually too ill anymore. I just have that post-viral thing where your throat and your voice doesn't sound quite right, and I'm getting there. I'm getting there, Jaws.
He's recovering. It's all right. Again, we'll send you some chocolate later on. It'll be all good. No worries.
You promised me chocolate yesterday, and I still.
That is very true. Also, the British Postal Service isn't too great, so I'm going to blame it on that, shall we? It's coming for you, mate. It's in the post.
Well, the Royal Mail is pretty good, but I tell you what, I've had half a job with a particular German company that I will not name.
A particular German. Wow. All right. Okay. Not pointing any fingers, but begins with a D and ends with a P.
It ends with a D, Jaws.
Does it? Oh yeah, it does. Yeah. All right. Okay. That's not. All right. We're going back to school already. You're teaching me how to spell. All right. Fair enough. Well, apparently this game is just that bloodthirsty. It slowed down a little bit. 7 kills in 4 minutes, but we're all looking at Izzy in a little bit of trouble here as he does stay on the lane a little bit too long. Kai was actually waiting up in that brush, looking to back, but just ended up going a little bit more aggressive here. And this is actually something that eMonkeys didn't do in their games yesterday. They weren't aggressive on this Petal. They were afraid of just pushing their advantages and pushing into the enemy jungle. And they've done exactly that this time around. They did end up falling to Norm Pachani yesterday, but now it just looks like a complete turnaround from them. And their ability to actually pressure Bruto in this jungle has been quite disruptive on his jungle pathing.
Yeah, and you can see the interaction there. Samuel can really put pressure on a Petal. You can clear Munions with those big hitting Malice and Verdicts on the Drifting Dark, and Bruto's found some good opportunities to do that here. I do like that the Fnatic Gaming are playing around Samuel's strength, which is his ability to just come to lane and pressure the enemy laner from afar. Oh, Bruto overextended slightly. Massive ultimates.
Whoa, that's a nice Oblivion saving 2 people. Bruto already fell in that engagement, though. Did manage to get it off to save lane Easy and Issy, but regardless of that, Kai does end up assisting in the kills once again. Unfortunately, not picking up a kill for himself, but that turret is going down very, very low. Holy Nova comes out. Rom Gemsword is going to just sidestep it pretty easily. Fountain used and the potion here from lane Easy just to stay alive underneath this turret. It's quite critical. You'd imagine they'd have lost that if that wasn't the case. Now, Bruto coming back towards the lane, but eMonkeys refusing to give up on this pressure.
Yeah, the Rom Gemsword stacking up on the Catherine quite nicely there. That's interesting. He sticks around, he tanks them some more up, and Lane Easy gets back to clear the wave. So just relieve pressure on that turret here for Fnatic Gaming. eMonkeys, they just hit that item spike of the Shattered Glass. And, you know, Petal, the spontaneous combustion, I think she hit 3 spontaneous combustions onto Bruto because of the timing of the stun, and then obviously moving in immediately to capitalize on it. Fnatic Gaming kind of caught unaware from that engage from eMonkeys. The siege starts up from Samuel again. This is one of his major strengths, but the Drifting Dark slowly drifts away. And Fnatic Gaming are left waiting for that to come back off cooldown before they can start up the siege engine.
That's a song there somewhere, slowly drifting away. I can't quite put my finger on it, though. Oh, I'm sure I'll find out. I'll Google it in a minute or something, or you can Google it while I talk. Now, we are seeing some big power spikes in terms of items coming through for Kai. As a Tension Burner, Poison Shiv on board. We do have the Fountain and the Crucible coming out. And in fact, trampoline over the wall. Kai goes very, very low again. Bruto, the Siege Machine, doing what he does best, sending out those Drifting Darks. Does get stunned up, but wait for it. Is going to come out. Massive Blast Tremor as well onto 3 members. Can't really quite find the distance, though. Is that Oblivion is going to come out and separate the rest of eMonkeys even. I was going to call them Easy Monkeys, but not quite there yet. Fnatic Gaming still willing to kite back here with that Drifting Dark. Bruto going in once more. Very back and forwards in these games. Both teams kind of uncommitting, and the ability Fnatic Gaming actually to kite back is pretty strong.
Espantanto, he's very, very healthy right now. And
oh, what are you doing? Lane Easy, just with the punish. Yeah, Espantanto going really low underneath his turret, though. He might just end up going down. Bruto's going to be able to chase him. Just ran straight underneath the turret, took aggro, and Issy is going to be able to secure the kill.
Oh my word, the tension bow proc from Kai Mabrai as well.
Did not expect that damage, and I don't think he did either.
No, they're going to push onto the turret, but Lane Easy is going to start to make his way back now, so it'll be very, I think it'll be hard-pressed or eMonkeys at this level of HP to get this turret now, so it's kind of ended up being a 2-for-1 trade, and the turret still stands for the Fnatic Gaming roster, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but Petal will get some serious work done with her ultimate in these fights, because doesn't it feel like Fnatic Gaming want to try and focus her, especially Lane Easy maybe feels a little bit reluctant to dive in on top of the Petal, just maybe because of the sort of the misconception about how this bug actually works. It can influence things in some way, shape, or form, but right now I wouldn't say that it's having any influence on these team fights. It's just mainly the placement of these incredible spontaneous combustions coming out from Espantanto, who, by the way, was captain for eMonkeys yesterday.
Yeah, a little bit of a role swap and a little bit of a fight as well. Issy does have the Divine Intervention. A big wait for it is going to come out. That's silencing 2 members. Look at that damage coming out from the Petal already. Divine Intervention is going to get used on Lane Easy, so he's going to heal himself up. Ron Gensel find the stun to Bruto. Espantanto looking for a way into the fight, however getting poked out quite viciously by Bruto. Benediction in onto Kai. Drifting Dark as well is going to dissuade the rest of Easy Monkeys to eMonkeys. Should be Easy Monkeys at this point. That sounds such a better name. It's because there's a Z in their clan tag.
It's because Monkeys and the eMonkeys organization ends with a Z. to his E-Monkey Z. So
E-Monkey. E-Monkey Z. Easy
Z,
monkeys.
boys.
Izzy's going to fall once again, actually. That's going to be a nice kill from Kai, although almost taken out Bruto as well. And Lane Easy, you had to just back off. Again, E-Monkey's just doing a fantastic job. Something they didn't do yesterday. Turret is going to go down. They'll get the first turret on the board. And that added wealth of pressure is going to get opened up for them. They're going to be able to control a lot more of this jungle now.
You're combining the tension bow with Kaimabrai and this shattered glass build coming out from Espatano, and it's a lot of burst damage coming down. You can see Lane Easy hasn't thought about any shielding whatsoever, but realistically, the majority of the damage in these teamfights is coming from those spontaneous combustions. They are so well placed, they're getting maximum impact, and there's almost little to no shielding. Bruto's picked up some tier 1, but it just feels like it's not enough now that you're working towards the broken myth from the Petal. Moving on was the jungle player for E-Monkeys yesterday. He played the Petal with the Frostburn first, but they got really far behind against that Lance jungle and just really couldn't find their way back into the game. This is a Petal who got ahead. She picked up the Shatterglass. That's why her damage output is pretty insane at this point. And Lane Easy finally picks up some tier 1 shielding here. So you're going to see about a 20 to 25% reduction in damage from that Petal just by picking up that singular item for a 250 gold investment. It's pretty substantial. Investment at this stage in the game. That's pretty good for Lane Easy. He's already forced to use his Rose offensive away, and I feel like Fnatic Gaming, they need to just try and pick that Petal out with the Samuel drifting dive, try and get those minions down using the AoE blasts from the Malice and Verdict, and then just dive in on her, because you can see Lane Easy just has been very reluctant to really make any moves in these fights. Wait a second.
Yeah, that damage coming out was like, how do you even deal with that as Bruto, honestly? Izzy got chunked out completely, and Bruto was just caught off to the side. That Shatterglass is just destroying the members of Fnatic Gaming right now. They're going to be able to take away the back camps as well.
You can't let Petal make the first move, Jaws. If Petal makes the first move and you're not putting pressure onto her, she is the ultimate queen of chasing people down. Petal is the ultimate chasing down hero because of her minions, because of the spontaneous combustion, the trampoline. If you are running away from a Petal, you are going to die. The only way to deal with the Petal is close the distance on her and force her to go into a defensive maneuver. If you're not putting pressure on a Petal will just...
Oh, hang on a second, Alexandro, because Lane Easy might be going a little bit too deep here. Kai dives him straight underneath the turret in a 1v2 situation as Rom Gemsword didn't end up rotating. Maybe a little bit too over-aggressive as Izzy and Bruto were completely... literally nowhere to be found. They're on their own side of the jungle. Maybe a little bit not overcautious. There could be opposite word of that. Maybe a little bit over aggressive.
Yeah, throwing caution to the wind potentially. Lane Easy there. He didn't have any vision. Just thought he could go for the 1v1 and was punished for it. And now E-Monkey's going to look back up.
A lot of trouble. He goes underneath the turrets, gets very low. Divine Intervention is going to come out and heal him a lot. But look at this kiting potential and the perfect turret management aggro there. That was absolutely beautiful. Rom Gemsword tanked most of the turret. They were able to get the kill from Bruto. Lane Easy wasn't able to come back in time, although he still wanted to take a chunk out of Espatano. Holy Nova only onto 1. They don't have much energy left. Lane Easy over the wall. Rose offensive straight onto Espatano. Does not find the kill. This could be a bit of a problem for E-Monkeys right now as they don't have much energy. Kai just trying to kite back as much as he can. More wounds coming out to stop the healing coming out from the Catherine, but it's not going to matter all too much as he does end up just taking him out anyway. Rom Gemsword running away, just being the only member left alive, and that's a good little turnaround there coming out from Fnatic Gaming, but they're not going to be able to secure too much of it.
Hey, finally, Lane Easy finds the opportunity to dive in on the Petal, and what do you know, actually kills her. And she's got no armor right now. Lane Easy's picked up a significant 2-item spike for the Black Feather, as well as having Aegis and the Metal Jacket completed. You shouldn't be afraid to dive in on the Petal. That's really the only way to combat a Petal is because of her low base health, the fact that she doesn't really like to build huge amounts of defensive itemization. You just jump in on her. Force her to burn the trampoline and then Rose offensive after her again. The problem, Bruto.
Oh, Bruto. Yeah, his Divine Intervention is going to get used. He uses his boots as well, but he's going to be a little bit safe. But again, I think they're starting to get desperate, Xandro, in all honesty. Like, that turret is on very, very low HP. It's got, obviously, the shielding to kind of back it up just in case the minions aren't there. But right now, E-Monkeys, they can just play a slow, methodical game. Fnatic Gaming, they're feeling pressured to make a move and make a play happen.
You say that, Jaws, but they're only about 4,000 gold behind. The CS differential is not huge at this point in time. I mean, Fnatic Gaming don't look like they're desperate.
Big
They look like
collapse here. Bruto just dodged out of that Madison Verdict. It's going to be pretty big. And actually, that massive blast drum is actually going to stop Lane Easy from getting that kill initially. But that's going to be a massive oblivion. He's going to get blocked. Kai just trying to kite back. But Lane Easy's not letting him have a nice time at all. Rom Gemsword now in the front line. They finally managed to chunk out Lane Easy. Trying to get away now. Bruto is going to be able to kite back with those Madison Verdicts. But Redemption... Divine Intervention, sorry, is available still, but that massive spontaneous combustion is just going to erase Bruto. And now Issy is in a lot of trouble. Estana is going to find that kill. In fact, this might just be a triple. Oh, only just stolen away by Kai. They find the ace, however, and the Kraken is going to get taken too.
wow, Kraken, I'm going to get burnt down here. You were just talking about how Fnatic Gaming were making desperate moves. It didn't seem desperate to me. It felt like they thought that they were at similar power levels given their item spikes, but I mean, that was so over-aggressive. You've got absolutely no vision in the center of the map. You know the E-Monkeys are going to collapse on you when you go for the turret as a unit. Going for the turret like that makes you feel like they are confident that they can win a team fight. And I guess given the way that they sort of allowed the Blackfeather to clean up the last team fight, there was elements there that made them believe that they had some sort of team fighting prowess, but they just weren't positioned correctly. And again, Lane Easy seems to be so focused on going for Kaimabrai, who has got the metal jacket. It's like, even if, okay, right, let's just put it, let's think about it from Lane Easy's perspective. He doesn't want to go for
Lane Easy's in trouble, or at least he was for the moment, but he might just get out.
He's going to get away there. I think Rom Gemsword's going to chase him down, but it is going to split focus away from the Kraken. Rom Gemsword's going to continue because, remember, Lane Easy is pretty much the majority of the Kraken damage here. And again, if they can stop him from backing, it's a Samuel and a Grace that has to defend against this Kraken, which is very, very poor. And you can see E-Monkeys jumping in.
Oh my goodness, that damage onto Bruto, only just being saved by his base. That Kraken is still very healthy, and Rom Gemsword, he's taking a lot of damage, but he's surviving exactly what he needs to do. That's here. That's here, 2 turrets here, 3 turret did go down, open up the base, another one is going to fall. Issy going very, very low, has to just run back. Oblivion is going to get blocked from Kai as well. That Kraken still knocking on the base doors. The turret is going to fall, and they might just take the Crystal Sentry. They might as well just take the Crystal Scoundrel. It's just going to fall as well. That is a beautiful rotation from Rom Gemsword. That'll be E-Monkeys taking game number 1.
Yeah, that was a really nice play by Rom Gemsword at the end there to stop Lane Easy. The only person that's going to shred through that Kraken, you stop him from getting a back, and then you just leave a Samuel and a Grace, who are they're just not going to kill a Kraken by themselves, not easily anyway, especially when you've got Espetano and Kaimabrai being offensive and stopping them from doing so. Good move. I feel for Lane Easy and Fnatic Gaming. It felt like Lane Easy was very reluctant to dive on Petal. Now, look, we can only assume that could be due to the perceived bug, but there were instances where he was diving onto Petal when he got the kill. So I feel like I would have thrown caution to the wind and said, well, Petal is the person I've got to kill. Stop going for the Vox. And then I dive onto the Petal. But I do feel for Fnatic Gaming Lane Easy because they don't know how that interacts. They may have felt that if they dove, it would be a waste of time. I don't know, Dalsy. That was a difficult game. Obviously, when a Petal's involved, but
I feel like
it is what it is.
It came down to the draft. Samuel's minions get blocked very easily. Samuel's Malice and Verdicts get blocked very easily by aggressive Petal because she throws her minions at the Samuel. They're on top of the Samuel. Petal has range, so she's not getting affected by a empowered Drifting in Dark. And Samuel takes some time to clear the minions before he can get onto the Petal. By that point, the Drifting Dark has probably used half of its cooldown. So, it really came down to the draft. Petal was picked A-side. A Celeste, a Scarf in the jungle, would have far easily dealt with the minions, would have cleared them out instantly, and then you would have had any issue dueling the Petal. There's a lot of talk about this bug that is obviously in competitive play, and everyone's been made aware of it, but the bug did not have any effect at all. In this game, it was purely just a poor pick in Samuel, a lot of great early aggression from Rom Gemsword and Espetano, and a snowball that Fnatic Gaming never recovered from.
I think they obviously picked the Samuel for a reason. They're not idiots. They know that. I think Samuel it's not probably as good as a Scarf. Like, I probably would have picked the Scarf personally. But it still has AoE clear of minions. The problem was that I think they were so reluctant to dive the Blackfeather onto the Petal, when the Blackfeather is the primary person that's going to threaten a Petal in a team fight, because Petal just doesn't want to build armor for the most part. So It's just the reluctancy to commit to the fights in that way from Fnatic Gaming. I felt drew them back. And again, I said there's a variety of reasons for that right now, and I feel for Fnatic Gaming for some of them. Some of them we just can't help. But I feel like I would have just thrown caution to the wind and said, right, Blackfeather, just dive the Petal. You know, if she brings her minions back to her, will Samuel then have a clear shot at her as well? Because the minions won't be doing as much body blocking because they'll be body blocking next to the Petal. There were ways that you could have played that game with a Samuel. But hey.
They're just going to remove the Petal from the Halcyon Fold straight away in this draft. Fair enough. If you feel like you... Oh, it does look like we've dropped dropped one of the players here, so we'll have to get everyone back into the lobby. But yeah, I just... I'm not entirely sure that the draft that they picked up here, I'm not convinced with the Samuel, if I'm gonna lie. Like that's what it comes down to me.
I think if you pick Samuel, he has a very specific role in the game, and that role is sieging turrets early on. Like Samuel is just like the ultimate siege machine. He's literally like a trebuchet. He trebuchets Malice and Verdicts at the lane. And because of the lack of sustain in lane these days, it makes it a little bit easier for you to open up that first turret and then snowball from there. That's kind of Samuel's only perk. Like I would never pick Samuel over Celeste and Scarf, and even Scarf does that just as well, personally. But Samuel's a little bit more like a battering ram, and Scarf's a little bit more like a finely placed explosive arrow. You know, Scarf needs that opening to take the turret, whereas Samuel's just like, I'm just going to literally slam missiles until I hit something.
Yep.
So when you pick Samuel, you've got a very specific, outcome in mind. But hey, it's not a poor matchup into Petal. It's almost like 50-50 in some ways.
Yeah, it's just like I just when you've got a Scarf and a Celeste, which is probably more like an 80-90. Yeah, I just think that if you're worried about the Petal, then and we've had this discussion because we were discussing before broadcast the perceived power of Petal and what you can do about it. And the reason that we haven't seen Petal, so the thing about this bug is that competitive players have been aware about it for about 2 months now. It's not like it's a new bug. They've been aware for maybe 2 or 3 patches. So because of that, why have we not seen Petal drafted every game in competitive? If the bug has been known about by the top tier players, it's because that you can draft far better matchups into Petal, which make that instance of the bug irrelevant. So that's where it comes down to. Yeah,
I mean, like Celeste destroys Petal, like in every way. Scarf in the same instances destroys Petal. So, I agree with you, Dalsy. I think there were better picks, but I don't think Samuel was a nail in the coffin for that game. I just think there was better ways of attempting to play the team fights.
All right, so sorry about the wait for getting into this game. The side of eMonkeys have got Voldemar back. The reason we delayed the broadcast was because Voldemar hadn't appeared online yet. And so they brought Rumgem Sword in. Rumgem Sword performed fantastically. His play in the late game basically won the game because Lane Easy wasn't able.
Basically, it literally won the game.
Literally won the game.
It literally won the game.
So I assume that they're bringing in their full roster, their main roster, Voldemar and Kai Maybri. We're just trying to get him into the lobby. We do know that Petal has already been banned by Fnatic Gaming. I don't believe we've had a ban yet from the side of eMonkeys, so we can get into this draft and just get things underway. I'm just going to let them know. Petal ban a side as before. And I'll check they're both ready as well. Considering that we've already seen the Petal ban, this I have to see what eMonkeys brings to the Halcyon Fold. It's been a priority for them so far in all of their drafts that we've seen here in the VGL, so very interesting to see. They banned Cruel out instantly, and that makes sense because Cruel is probably one of the heroes that has been affected most by this bug on Petal.
Lance is going to be the first pickup for the side of Fnatic, so not too much of a surprise. Was banned away last game, but Cruel, you're not wrong. I mean, realistically, Dowsy as well, it's been such a high priority for a lot of teams at the moment. He's just powerhouse when he has level 6. And the early item spikes he can get off the Tension Bow and Poison Shiv as well is just way too big to ignore. Waldemar will end up locking in the Finn here, so it's going to go towards Easy Monkeys, and that's going to be a pick that's been debated a little while. I know we were talking about it yesterday. Where will we see Finn again? And it's apparently going to be this game.
Yeah, I think Finn's very strong. You know, his fortified health, the expansion of cooldown reduction items in the captain meta, Echo being in a really good spot has really made Finn a late game monster. Pair it with 2 late game carries, then you're going to be in a great spot. We're going to see the Celeste picked up here by the side of Fnatic Gaming, really good into a Kestrel. You have the range to kind of out damage her. The Finn as well is able to you're able to stack on the Finn with your Broken Myth. I think Fnatic Gaming have to take Blackfeather as their jungler if they don't want to risk the side of E-Monkeys picking it up. Exactly what they do here. Now, for E-Monkeys, they've kind of been put into an awkward situation. That is one of the best heroes into Celeste and one of the best weapon power dueling heroes as well. Where do they go from here?
Yeah. This is a very standard A-side draft, by the way, when you want to pick up Celeste and Blackfeather is open. Blackfeather is probably the biggest weapon power counter to Celeste. So you pick it up on the same time. And actually, weapon power Blackfeather is in a really good place right now. Like, just really good place. He has a lot of good matchups and has very few bad matchups in a lot of ways. But I do like what E-Monkeys have done here, Dalcy. They've picked up the Scarf in retaliation, so they're trying to play a ranged battle. And we know what kind of Valdemar build Valdemar's going to go. You know, a weapon power Kestrel is really good at evading a Blackfeather because of the instantaneous active camo you get with the weapon power build.
Yep.
We know that this is like a 5 offensive item Kestrel coming out this game. So if he can get position on Lane Easy dies in like 2 glimmer shots.
I know from tweets yesterday, just going through on Twitter, Voldemar considers Kestrel to be an S-tier laner in the current update, so has a lot of priority in picking this pick. Going to be looking to try and carry his team. E-Monkeys 1-0 up in this series. It's for the playoff straws. Let's see who goes.
That it is, Dowsy. That it is. Now, Scoundrel, break it down right now. How? Why do you laugh when I say that? Break it down.
Break it down, bro.
Break it down. It's like Lucio on Overwatch. Break it down. Just break it down for me right now, Scoundrel. How are we going to see this Finn? And are we going to see this Finn and this Scarf go as aggressive early on as we saw E-Monkeys do in the early stages of the game last time? I know they haven't got a Petal, not some early powerhouse, but against a Blackfeather and a Lance, I mean, realistically, there's a lot of peeling there for the Scarf.
But lots of body blocking as well, and actually Finn has got one of the highest base weapon powers in the game, so if you get up close and personal as melee junglers early on, Finn actually hurts a lot. So yeah, I would imagine that E-Monkeys will be pretty keen to take these early trades, and Cambrai's got great secure potential with the Goop as well, which he's going to go for, which he gets. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. It actually goes over to Issy in that regard. Bruto, though, on the wrong side of the fight completely. Highest base damage, thank you very much. 2-man Impale, though, from Issy is going to be pretty big. Kai still trying to kite back. That long-range poke of the Lance will end up picking him off. At 45 HP doing a lot of work, though. Waldemar obviously rotating down from the lane. Same with Lane Easy. Lane Easy's basic attacks won't be nearly as effective. Another beautiful Impale from Issy. Waldemar getting that 45 HP, though, and he will get punished for it as well. Nice Impale, but regardless of that, Waldemar's still got the damage in the early game, and he does pick up the kill as well.
Yeah, starting with a double weapon blade will do that for you. And again, like I said, Espitano, very high base weapon power damage on Finn, so he duels very heavily. Quibble has got a very high level 1 damage too, although most people take the polite company first these days, which has been happened here for Espitano, so it gives you good dueling potential with the fortified health from the jungle early on too. And Voldemar baited with that, debated the Lance in with that healing flask, saying, yeah, okay, you hit me with an Impale, slam the healing flask down, huge amount of early game sort of sustain brought back in, and he's back in the fight and ready to go. So Voldemar played that really nicely there. Going to get caught up this time, though.
Yeah, that he will, but Espitano is going to be there. Like you said, body blocking. Finn is a pretty chunky dude. Now, I've always kind of wondered what relative scale a lot of these heroes are, because obviously they're all scaled accordingly. And I want to know how big he actually is compared to someone like Petal. Because Petal is tiny, right? And then you can imagine Finn being this like 20-foot high dinosaur-looking dude with a massive anchor.
Well, he's a river troll.
Exactly.
So I reckon he's at least 13, 14 foot high.
Exactly. And
I think
Petal is a tiny bug.
Yeah, Petal's literally a bug. So, yeah, it's funny with MOBAs, isn't it? Where you have, like, for instance, in another MOBA, League of Legends, I'm allowed to say it, it's a VGL podcast. In another MOBA, League of Legends, there's a champion called Aurelion Sol, who's literally supposed to be a galaxy. Yeah, he's like in the game as a similarly sized champion. So it's a similar thing. Like Aurelion Sol is actually a galaxy, but he's
you compare him to Rammus, some shell dude.
Yeah.
Just literally a shell dude. Shell bro. Uh-oh. Scarf's caught. Uh-oh. Gideon wall. Kai does end up falling pretty low, but the damage from Mortimer already, like you said, is just pounding away at this back line. They line up. They say thank you very much. I'm just going to pin you down with those glimmer shots. A small little interaction as well with the Polite Company slowing everybody up. Mortimer is just going to have easy pickings on the... with
not
the
just
glimmer shots.
Mortimer. Kai Mabray as well. Like, any skill shot based hero is going to function well when you're slowing down and drawing them in, because you can predict where they're going to get drawn into with the Polite Company as well. So just sort of facilitates these skill shots. I do imagine that it's unlikely that Espitano is ever going to use the the Force Accord this game in an offensive manner, unless he's dragging them into a goop. I don't imagine that he'll ever do that. But yeah.
I want to see them layer this.
I've just been delivered food.
Oh. Well, that's very nice, Scoundrel. Thank you for letting us all know.
I tried to.
And you don't even share.
You didn't get me any chocolate, dude. I'm sorry.
It's in the post. Told you. It's getting there in 12 to 14 days.
I tried to fit it in really slyly, but then the plate just kind of slammed down next to my microphone. Wait a second, Bruto's going in.
Well, they're slamming down. They're slamming down onto Bruto. Quibble did end up missing. He does use the boots to get away. Very, very close call. I think he was trying to go for the shop there at that point, and then E-Monkeys were just a 3-man goon squad, just ready to chop him up. Izzy and Lane Easy are just going to be able to push his lane out, but regardless of that, Easy Monkeys, just changed the name already. Easy Monkeys are going to make a nice rotation. And actually a minion candy used yet again. We saw this yesterday. This not too surprising in all honesty. You get a lot of lane pressure from that, and you can see them using it there. And actually their minions did win out in the end. It was actually very hard for E-Monkeys to push underneath this turret. That was a lot of damage.
If you can thread the needle onto Celeste, she's going to straight up die. Izzy goes aggressive, has forced the boots out, but Bruto's not done.
Bruto going in, 1v3. How's it going to work? Of course you're going to die. That's a Sturlucky move right there. Kai ends up taking him out straight into the Spitfire. I don't know what he was thinking. Izzy kind of was like, yeah, I'll see you later. And then Lady Izzy was dead. And there goes the turret as well. Easy Monkeys doing a E-Monkey. Oh, God. Why Lane Easy? Why? Why do this to me? E-Monkeys, they take the turret. First turret.
Hey, Waldemar seems to have been the injection that was needed for this E-Monkeys roster to get back their heads in the game. Wait a second, E-Monkeys won the last one. I'm just going to slowly back away. Back away from the microphone.
They lost yesterday.
Goodbye.
See ya.
I'm back. E-Monkeys won the last one. Waldemar has been an extra addition of adrenaline for this team, and they're looking to secure their place in playoffs through the losers bracket nonetheless, but still chances to get towards those final stages of the VGL, very prestigious stages of VGL as well. We will be fighting the likes of Team Queso. There's the glimmer shots.
Lane Easy. Oh, that damage. Cool collapse a little bit too late, stuck in the animation. Bada bing, bada boom. Waldemar will be able to pick up another kill. 2-0-2 right now. Really, really stepping it up. And you're right, I think the injection of Waldemar into this roster really helping them right now. I mean, they lost 2 of their games against Norm Picani yesterday, but they took 2 turrets. They were so aggressive in taking the turrets and objectives, and in manner of fact, Bruto finds his first kill of the game. They're trying to fight the gold miner. Kai going very, very low. Can really escape that one. Not in a 2v2, especially against a Black Feather and a Lance. They at least take 2 kills, and they will secure gold miner as well. So at least a bit of a turnaround there for Fnatic.
Not even a turnaround. They actually get the gold lead from that. So really nice play. Over-aggressive move from the E-Monkeys roster. Because Waldemar, we're talking about Waldemar. He brings a certain style of play to a team. Waldemar is an all-out aggression. You ask Waldemar what a reflex block is, he tells you the item doesn't exist in the game. He is literally an all-out aggressive machine, but he brings that certain style of play that sometimes is necessary to push your advantages as Espitano.
He's good. He's pretty chunky. He's a pretty chunky lad. That is a very, very nice thread the needle one-shot, one kill. There comes the Dragon Breath as well. Bruto's actually forced to use the boots. Waldemar with the threading and the needle, by the way. Actually, in fact, Kai doing the same thing as well. Doing a very, very good job of finding those squishy targets. He is stacking up quite nicely. He's got that Sorrow Blade under his belt. And you're right, what is a reflex block? He didn't want to get one, not at all. We can get a couple more weapon blades. Why would you want to get defenses when you can get resources for damage? There's the core collapse onto Waldemar. He will end up backing away here. Bruto is going to find the assassination on the back line. Solar Storm is going to miss completely, but it doesn't matter because Kai already picking up that kill on the trade. Espitano going very, very low. Fountain is going to get popped as well. Lane EC very high mana and high HP as well. Does find the core collapse, but he is going to miss that impale. Does use that barrel roll to get away. Over the wall, though, Lane EC is just going to find the baby dragon. Takes him off the face of the fold. And is he trying to find Espitano? Walks straight into a quibble. Flight Company isn't going to quite connect, and he will end up surviving that one. But a 2-for-1 trade in the favor of Fnatic Gaming.
Yeah, they used that again. They used that force to core defensively, and whilst I think that's a solid maneuver, you really want to do it straight into a stun from the Kestrel, but I don't think that quite synced up properly there for Espitano and Waldemar, and the burst damage wasn't there to take her out in a couple of glimmer shots, so she was very readily able to survive. She's also gone something very unorthodox. She's gone for a coat of plates, which is a little bit out of sync from what you usually see from Celestes these days. And they are respecting the damage coming up from Waldemar, realizing that it's very important to be able to negate that. And that's, if you play Celeste recently, you'll very rarely see them go anything further than a reflex block. I wonder whether Lane Easy is going to rely on the Crucible of Issy as his reflex block this game, and he's still going to go for a 4-item Celeste, but just prioritize the armor.
Well, both the laners going very aggressive in their builds. Obviously, Waldemar, we know him for that. He's got his monocle on board as well. He's going to be able to chunk people out now. This is the scary thing for Fnatic. If they don't play proactively, Waldemar and Kai will just be able to sit back, Spitfire, 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 Glimmer Shot, Glimmer Shot, Glimmer Shot. They're going to be chunked out before they can even do anything in the fights. They really need to be proactive and just catch one of E-Monkeys out in order to make something happen. They're going to try and siege up this turret, but a massive Heliogenesis will take Waldemar to under half HP, so they might be able to do a little something here. Man, he is on point with the Heliogenesis.
Yeah, the problem with the Celeste versus Kestrel matchup is there is a good sort of 0.75 seconds where you use a Glimmer Shot, you are static, and that gives Celeste the opportunity to slide Heliogenesis right on top of you. So if Waldemar is feeling that now with no shielding, even just singular Heliogenesis, not even the Supernovas, are getting some serious work done. And if E-Monkeys want to win this game, Kaima Brai is actually going to have to hit a skill shot this century. I'm just joking. Like, he does actually need to hit a Spitfire, though.
I'm joking, but you need to hit skill shot. So let's just sit down and talk about that for a second. Easy trying to secure that healing camp, doesn't end up getting it. Kai doing a good job of just securing that with the goop. And now with a few more flares picked up, E-Monkeys, they are able now to push into the jungle of Fnatic Gaming. They need to be able to get this vision down. Gold Miner is at full capacity right now. He's mined enough gold to actually be worth about 300 each to each of the members of E-Monkeys if they are able to secure it. They took a little bit of a risky fight earlier on, but right now, Waldemar needs to get his boots moving. He's got 2 monocles now. He is hitting like a truck. They just need to be able to find the fights. They're going to get flared out. Espitano does have the force to cord available, so Fnatic Gaming, they're going to have to play around that cooldown now.
Fnatic Gaming have been very considerate in their defensive prioritization, though, and I do like this from them. They are all knowing that this is a Waldemar build, that he's going to go. We need the armor, otherwise we're going to get destroyed. You can see coat of plates or light armor just racking up on their roster at this point in time. So very clever thought processes coming out from these guys. Looks like Goldmine is going to get stuffed up by Kaima Brai and Espitano. Kaima Brai a little bit behind in terms of his items. He's working towards a clockwork now, so this is something that we saw Techno JJ do at the Unified Western Live Championships.
Oh, look at that damage onto Issy. Hello, Spitfire doesn't quite connect. 1-shot, 1 kill is going to go a little bit wide. Threads the needle the wrong way that time. Waldemar gets rooted. No reflex block. Doesn't matter though. Apparently, Issy goes really, really low. Dragon's Breath is going to get chased him up of the Crucible. Kaima Brai finding the Spitfire. Doesn't quite connect it. But meanwhile, on the other side of the map, actually, Waldemar does end up going down to lane easy. Bruto is just chasing Espitano now. Kaima Brai is going to get completely surrounded. Heliogenesis for the double kill, and now Espitano trying to find at least one. Uses the force to cord to find the kill, but Quibble is going to stun up lane easy, but he does find the last basic attack, finds the triple and the ace. Fnatic Gaming turn this one around in a heartbeat.
Wow, Bruto kind of split up the E-Monkeys roster there. They weren't quite sure who they wanted to end up focusing. They were like, oh, we're channeling Dragon's Breath, we're going to chase down the Lance. Oh, wait a second, let's turn around and try and chase. Nope, he's gone too far. And actually, Voldemar getting caught out there with his aggressive positioning, got caught out by the Impale that allowed the Fnatic Gaming roster to move back in and say, okay, well, we can actually re-engage this, because Voldemar, again, if I can just land at least 1 or 2 basic attacks or 1 or 2 Heliogenesis on him, he's going to suffer for it. And yeah, again, this is one of the drawbacks of Voldemar's type of build, is that if he's not absolutely pinpoint perfect on his positioning, he's going to be... he's going to be punished for it, especially against the Celeste, who he literally just needs to hit one button to punish you. So, Voldemar has to be very careful.
He has to be extremely careful when he's in these fights, but he is going to use those boots to just get a little bit of distance now. Now, all 3 members of Fnatic Gaming, they are a little bit split up here. Lane Easy on the other side, but racking up those Heliogenesis, stacking up that Broken Myth is what he exactly wants to do before he lets out that Solar Storm. Not been too impactful, in all honesty, that Solar Storm, but it doesn't really matter, apparently. Apparently, you can just kill Voldemar in a couple of hits with the Heliogenesis. Gold Miner started up, although left completely alone. They're realizing now that actually they maybe need to get an advantage, and that's exactly what they got. Voldemar finds the kill. Core Collapse landed, but it wasn't matter. He was already dead.
No matter how much armor you've got, against full critical strike Kestrel, you're going to really get punished if you're out of position by yourself, and that is the kind of play that Voldemar brings. That if he pulls it off like that, that's how E-Monkeys get their in onto this Celeste. But it has to be that kind of setup, which does really rely on good vision control and sort of catching the enemy out as well. Kai'Ma Brai here gets caught out a little bit.
They're not monkeying around too much right now. Kai'Ma Brai is caught out completely. Waldemar's joined the fray as well. Solar Storm from downtown isn't going to quite connect. In fact, it connected but did no damage. Kai'Ma Brai does go down in the end. Bruto getting dragged in by that Polite Company, but here comes Lane Easy. Is he already falls? But Lane Easy is just going to be able to clean up Waldemar. You can imagine Heliogenesis as he goes in for the Glimmer Shot. Finds the kill. Bruto now in the 1v1. Make that a 2v1 as Espitano. No damage on the Finn. Realistically, is going to fall again. Another ace comes through for Fnatic Gaming. They are just pulling out of the bag. It looks so good for Easy Monkeys, and then they get split up and just taken down one by one.
Well, this is an interesting move for E-Monkeys. They actually took out Rom Gemsword and brought Kai'Ma Brai back in. Kai'Ma Brai has been letting the team down this game. I don't think there's any other way of phrasing it. He has not been playing a peak Scarf game, and he's working towards his 4th item spike, but he's very vulnerable. To play a Scarf like this, you need to be kiting really effectively with your goop. Positioning of goop is of utmost importance, and obviously, Kai'Ma Brai just hasn't really been hitting all the right keys here. Voldemar's been doing a good job of getting the kills where necessary, but Rom Gemsword comes back in and Espitano back into the jungle. That seemed like a very strong roster to me, but Kai'Ma Brai, he's not quite there in terms of the gameplay right now, and hopefully steps up. E-Monkeys are just one game away from making it to the playoffs. If they lose this, it will be straight down to a best of one where pretty much anything can happen.
That's the scary thing about best of ones. No time to adapt. E-Monkeys, they are one game away from taking the series, and they will carry on through that loser's bracket. 15 minutes on the clock, Scoundrel. Now, Kraken is available. Ooh, hang on a second. Oh, I thought Waldemar was going to go really aggressive. In fact, let's take a Heliogenesis. There's the Dragon's Breath as well. One shot, one kill. It's going to find Lane Easy. Thread the needle beautifully. Finds him on the back line. Kai'Ma Brai takes a Githian wall, but that's a massive quibble onto 2 members. Not where you want to be against the Finn. Easy goes down as well. And that'll be the Crystal Sentry going over to the side of E-Monkeys. They're going to push down this lane. Kraken's on the board. Looking all too wrong for Fnatic Gaming.
Sorry, I had to cough. Just as I criticized Kai'Ma Brai, steps up with a really nicely placed, Dragon's Breath there. That's the kind of ideal situation that you want to use Dragon's Breath in. When you have the enemy team on the run, you know that you're going to be able to chase them down. You know that you're going to be able to slow them for Waldemar to thread those shots in with the Glimmer Shots and the one-shot, one-kill as well. And that was, again, Kai'Ma Brai's placement of goop, his igniting, all really pitch perfect in that particular fight, and really stepped up in that particular very important fight as well, because this is going to be probably E-Monkeys pushing into the base of the Fnatic Gaming roster here and trying to secure their place in those playoffs.
Yep, that they will. A nice route in a Githian wall does land onto Kai'Ma Brai, but that turret will fall regardless of that. Kai'Ma Brai doing a lot of damage to structures, and in fact, if they're left half a second on a turret, it will end up falling. Kraken now marching into the base. Scoundrel, Fnatic Gaming looking a little bit worse for wear. Like you said, you Really, really hyped them up a second ago, but right now not pulling out all the stops. Line Easy is in the back line, trying to get a bit of damage down. Solar onto 3 people. Wardemar going very, very low, but Bruto is already out of the fight. Kaimer Bride does get impaled. He does get taken out as well. Bruto does find the kill. Now they're trying to hunt Wardemar. Sneaky, sneaky devil, but he will end up going down regardless. Kaimer Bride, Espitano, they all fall. When Ace comes through for Fnatic, they're going to be able to secure that Kraken, but not before they take 2 turrets out of their base.
Yeah, there's 1 turret remaining now, and that turret will not last very long. If they make 1 wrong move, Voldemar and Kaimer Bride will shred through it. 2 of the best turret-taking heroes in the game. Full weapon power Kestrel and a Scarf here. And you can see Voldemar with the classic Voldemar build going towards 5 items. Finish the Halcyon charges for the energy regeneration for the Glimmer Shot. It's got a bit of cooldown reduction. Obviously, the movement speed increase there as well. But this is classic Voldemar. All or nothing, all on positioning, all on pinpoint placement of his Glimmer shots, or you're going to get punished for it. Good defense there by Fnatic Gaming. They needed to make that defense. It would have been game over if they had not. So, managing to bring it back. And again, it seems to be Issy isolating Kaimer Bride. Kaimer Bride finds himself out of positioning, and Bruto finds that opportunity to jump on. And you can see, you know, for the most part, why a weapon power Blackfeather does well into these CP mages, because you can stick to them very easily, and they don't often build armor in their kit, so you're able to just take them down with incredible prowess. And Bruto, I've been very impressed with him over the course of the series that I've seen him play. It's a very close game here now, though, Jaws. Again, the advantages seemingly lying with E-Monkeys, but even a 1 wrong move for them and their base gets opened up, they'll have to be careful about how they approach these team fights.
Well, still, they're only 1 turret between them and continuing through to playoffs. That's what's got to be on their minds. A little bit of injection of Waldemar spirit, and it looks like that experience coming from the VG8 is really stepping up and showing. All right, okay, we'll ignore that one. Literally singing his praises, and then he sends a 1-shot, 1-kill off the map. All right, okay.
It happens, bro. Sometimes.
It happens, yeah. To be fair, I do that on Scarf all the time with Spitfires. Hang on a second, Wardemar does get rooted up though. Oh, Lane Easy's going to have an easy time locking him down. There's the Fountain, doesn't want to fire off a single shot, just falls anyway. Solar Storm to try and finish him off, but he was already dead. Kaimer Bride getting chased up now. Crucible popped there for the shielding and the prevention of the stun from the Githian wall, but Kaimer Bride on the wrong side of everything. Nice double block actually on the 2 stuns, but won't be enough to save you from the depths of hell. You end up going back to your base, and now Espitano, the last member alive, and the Kraken on the board for Fnatic Gaming, they're going to be able to push into the base now.
Yeah, no ace buff, so they won't be able to get easy turrets here, and Espitano might be able to defend them, but they'll definitely get the Kraken off the back of this Bruto. Going to block up the Atlas Pauldron, so really nice block that's going to allow him to continue to pressure this turret. He'll at least get 1. And that's going to be now a threatening push from Fnatic Gaming. Waldemar just so aggressive, and like we talked about it a lot, really aggressive with his positioning, and that often isn't the best thing. And you saw there, he got caught out once and gets caught out by Issy again. I've got to say, Issy's lance has always impressed me. The double Githian wall as well to isolate Kaimer Bride after Voldemar went down using the Echo. Really nice move there. Voldemar kind of dances around like a lost puppy when he gets isolated. If I were him in that situation, I would just say, okay, I'm dead here, right? What's the best thing that I can do instead of being dead? I can see I just slam damage onto Celeste. He was literally in front of Celeste. Obviously, if he starts casting Glimmer shots, he's going to get hit by Heliogenesis, but you know, really. Oh, wait. Look at Voldemar, though. Look at Voldemar. There is literally no vision on the map right now.
Uh-oh. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, he's going for the recall. That's sad, boys. Oh, man, I was hoping he'd go for some sneaky. Oh, wait, no, scoundrel. Turn it back. He's going for the sneaky. In that stealth, we'll find the base, but look who just recalled. Issy. He knows something's going down. Waldemar's going to be there. Look how fast he's chunking through that turret, though. It's already going down. Pops into the active camo once more. Issy, you're in a lot of trouble if you don't manage to kill Waldemar right now. Githian wall him away. That Kraken's still marching on the base. They're trying to get some recalls down.
Look at Voldemar. He's going.
Goes down, but Waldemar's damage might be a little bit too much. Pops out of the active camo. Might just find the last.
Oh, one more. He got it.
Away, and he gets in the back door from E-Monkeys. Finds the kill on the crystal, and we'll see you in playoffs.
Oh, I mentioned it earlier. I said that turret will not last long against a weapon power Kestrel, and like Voldemar is literally, I can't describe this player. It's very hard to describe Voldemar as a player because 90% of the game he will sometimes feel like dead weight, and then he does one thing that is like a flash of pure brilliance, and a flash of pure brilliance in Vainglory at 21 minutes into the game, 22 minutes into the game, can actually just win you games. That was just a flash of pure brilliance from Voldemar. Mechanically, decision-making, everything involved was so good from him. Even after a slurry of mistakes, he actually steps up and does one of those brilliant Voldemar moves. One of those moves that got Voldemar his name in the first place. That was impressive to see. You know, say what you like about Voldemar in every other capacity, but that was impressive.
Man, that is insane to think that that came down to a single auto attack from Voldemar. Because he dies there, then it's very simply lane easy with the Kraken winning the game. Fnatic Gaming coming back into the series. We're one apiece. We're fighting in a best of one, essentially. But wow. Voldemar steps up. And the sad part of that all was that E-Monkeys knew it was going to happen. And they couldn't... Sorry, Fnatic Gaming knew it was going to happen. And they couldn't decide who needed to go back to stop it. Lane Easy was backporting. Cancelled it twice. As did Issy. If they had committed to that move, then they would have won the game. I think that's as simple as it would have got, or at least they would have been still in this game. Incredible. E-Monkeys 2-0 Fnatic Gaming. They will be going through to our VGL Challenger Series in autumn. Split 1 playoffs. I said all those words in the wrong order, but you will excuse me. Next up, we have a second elimination matches. It's only elimination matches today. Only the most exciting. Only the matches that mean people get into the playoffs. It is going to be 90 Degrees versus Team Verdict. As you can see on your screen there, they will be playing up against each other to make it into the playoffs. And so we will throw it to a short break. And when we do return, it will be that series for those players. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just 10.
Okay, I'm ready.
Welcome back, guys, to the VGL Challenger Series. It is time for our second series of today. It's going to be Team Verdict up against 90 Degrees. Winner of this series, of course, going to be joining those in the playoff brackets. And since we are starting to get a bit of an idea of the playoff bracket, I can show you which teams have qualified for it. Here they are. You can see the four teams, up in the winners bracket: Team Queso, Norm Picani, Fluffy Chickens, and Audacity Gaming. We know that those are going to be the matchups of the winners bracket, which will be happening next week here in the VGL Autumn Challenger Series. How the elimination bracket pans out is still yet to be determined. I've just entered eMonkeys there because we know that they have qualified, and now I guess we're going to be finding out a couple of the other people. Now, I said that you guys can see that my face was on the screen the whole time, but there it is, once more, the playoff bracket there. It's looking pretty good.
Classic Excoundrel.
That is an Excoundrel move.
I'll take it. Excoundrel's pretty cool. I like him. Right, Excoundrel, Jaws, two teams battling it out once more. We know 90 Degrees fairly well, I feel, at this point in the VGL. It's Baby Groot. Baby Groot.
The draft begins.
Exciting to see how they play out this game.
It's going to be a gladiator brawl with two Baby Groots and Quinn and their opponents in the block.
Wow. You'd be the worst
Play-by-play
announcer
caster.
for play-by-play caster and like a gladiatorial combat event.
This is why Excoundrel doesn't play-by-play. It's because he can't do intros.
I can do it. I never get to do intros because I'm a color caster, but I am actually not bad at intros.
Alright, you know what, Excoundrel? I'm going to throw to you at the end of this draft to take us onto the Halcyon Fold for an epic
Oh my
intro.
god.
Alright, so you can prep it.
So it's 90 Degrees versus. Sorry, I forgot the second team name.
Team Verdict.
Team Verdict.
I mean, you already failed at half of that, but we'll let you
Gotcha.
on, I guess.
Alright, so 90 Degrees, Idris, Grace, and a Black Feather likely to come through. We've got a Lance and a Glaive locked in so far for Verdict.
Very aggressive potential jungle duo. Lance and Glaive has kind of been feared through its prowess of very early trades for quite a while, especially weapon power Glaive. You know, the impale into the guaranteed afterburn combo is pretty solid. Gotta say though, 90 Degrees do love their Idris, Dalsy. It is something they play a hell of a lot here, so I would be scared facing up against, I think, is it part 2 that plays lane?
No. Baby Groot is carry, Baby Part 2 is jungle, and Quinn is captain.
I get confused between the two as well. Yeah, but we know that they've got a very, very good Idris here. Wow, there's some massive obsession with Samuel today.
I don't know what it is. I think Samuel has been overtaken as far as premier CP jungler. That's just my personal opinion, though.
I think he's good, but I overestimated how good Sustain would actually be on this update. It's not actually that big of a deal, to be honest. Anyway.
All right, we'll have to see how this one does break down. Like you mentioned, it is this Idris that we've seen plenty of times coming out from the side of the 90 Degrees roster, and normally this would be the time that I would throw to Jaws to take us onto the Halcyon Fold, but as promised, Excoundrel, take us away.
Brace yourself. The Blood Bowl has opened. 90 Degrees, sporting Idris in the center of the bowl. But they are facing a team of judges, who will weigh you, they will measure you, and they will cast their verdict. That verdict is guilty. Guilty is charged on the Halcyon Fold. Here we go! Tiny Rick!
That was monstrous. What was that monstrosity?
I don't know, just said
What was
Tiny
the
Rick.
tiny... Alright, okay, well, that's fair enough. You gotta work Rick and Morty in there somehow, I guess.
I think my fever's actually gone back to being me slightly delusional. So,
I was about to say, you got some... It's like you're taking some hallucinogens, in all honesty. But, you know how it is. You did it once, I mean, you can maybe work on them, Excoundrel. Maybe I'll let you do them a little bit more. Apart from it, you did
Still
sound
better-
like you were
still-
starting up for
still
an
better than
infomercial.
yours' intros, boys.
Well. Oh dear. Luke Cow died.
What
Quinn
was that? Oh.
and Baby Groot took the kill. Baby Groot
okay.
part 2.
We're gonna take this seriously now. So obviously, Baby Groot running the CP Idris this time round. He has flexed obviously between the meta has kind of switched between which Idris build path that it prefers. You know, a couple of updates ago, it was the CP, the weapon power Idris that was kind of in fashion, and everyone kind of realized how strong CP Idris was. Asteroid was looking for the afterburn, but didn't quite find the correct timing on it. But Baby Groot has got extensive experience on both of them. This is why I said, you know, he's got a sort of a wealth of experience when it comes to these Idris matchups. He's also got his healing flask still in tow. I imagine he's going to try and bait Asteroid in here. And that'll be his prime directive, try and bring him into turret range and then use the healing flask to bait him out. But, yeah, just a classic Idris lane early on against the Glaive. You're going to take a bit of punishment, and Call Me Quinn has come in to try and mediate that.
Yeah, Asteroid taking a lot of upfront damage as well. In fact, the Lance is going to have to make his way towards the lane to alleviate that even further, actually. Team Verdicts getting pressured into the turret, but like you said, classic Idris lane, just want to push in that Glaive over and over again. You've been quite an outspoken opinionate, Scoundrel. Funny that, unlike you. About the Glaive in the lane. Luke in a little bit of trouble though. Baby Groot part 2 is also just chasing him down, almost gets rooted up, but he's going to be able to secure that kill. Just hiding in that bush, setting up her level 3 death bush all on his lonesome. Will be able to secure that healing camp as well. Chrissa is going to be able to back off. In fact, Chrissa actually secured that camp, so Baby Groot didn't actually find
What are you
that
trying to say about me, George, actually? I've just registered that. What are you trying to say about me, mate?
It's your fever, mate. You were hearing things.
You what, mate?
Your fever has been... You know, you need to lie down, Scoundrel. Maybe lie down.
Weapon power Glaive lane is very good.
I didn't say it wasn't. I was actually saying, like, you've been quite a outspoken voice about it, about how good it is right now.
It's got a lot of good matchups, and there's obviously with the Book of Eulogies, you can sustain through a lot of them. It's been slightly more wearing to play against the more ranged carries in the lane, but if he's ever taking a poor trade, you can always pull the trigger with a weapon power Glaive lane. We've got a bit of an engage in the jungle going on, though.
Yeah, but in addition onto 2 of them, Luke Hale going very low again. Baby Groot part 2 is just chasing him down. Holy Nova onto 1. Luke Hale in a lot of trouble. Beautiful 2-man impale. Getting more wasn't even enough. Baby Groot, the other one, is coming down as well. So is just backing off underneath the turret. Very tanky Lance will be able to survive.
I mean, we can see already the class of this 90 Degrees squad. They are regulars to the end stages of the VGL tournament. They are incredibly powerful when given the right kind of compositions as well. And Baby Groot and Baby Groot Part 2 actually just stops him from rotating there, and Asteroid forces the boots out of Baby Groot. So Asteroid's been suitably aggressive in this lane, but Baby Groot very quickly accelerating towards his Shatterglass or his Frostburn, but we imagine it'll be a Shatterglass. Nope! Lull!
Frostburn.
It's a Frostburn. EU Frostburn. But actually, in a lot of ways, it is good. It kites very heavily against the Lance and the Glaive, who obviously, you know, sort of gap closing, and especially Lance needs to get in a particular range, which is going to be outside the range of the or inside the range of the basic attack from Baby Groot, so he'll be able to kite the Lance quite nicely. Asteroid will be less affected by the Frostburn, but once he's used the Afterburn, he doesn't have any other ways to close the gap. So if you can get away from that Afterburn, you can reflex block it, then you can kite back against the Glaive really nicely. So I think Frostburn in a lot of ways makes sense here.
Whew, nice impale. Baby Groot taking a lot of damage. Beautiful actually honing over as well by Quinn, but he's very low and very out of position. Fountain used. Is it going to be enough? Luke Hale trying to just kite down this kill. Massive Verdicts are just missing, and now part 2 has actually arrived here as well. Asteroid taking a fair bit. It's going to have to back off. The beautiful Githian wall by Chrysor is going to be able to disengage the rest of Team Verdicts. Couldn't take advantage of Quinn there, which is really bad. Luke Crate. Oh, hello. Luke Hale ends up falling. Baby Groot part 2 will find himself yet another solo killer on in the back line because it's taking very low again. Asteroid going in, however, does get the finder's son on Quinn, but Baby Groot part 2 is going to get taken out eventually, but still manages to pick up his 4th kill in 5 minutes. This is, okay, he's starting to pop off. He's got his Sorrow Blade, he's ready to rock and roll.
Another thing about Frostburn on the Idris now is that it does actually hit your divergent paths, so even as a first item, it is, you know, very viable. You don't have to sort of invest anything more. The cheapest way, I think, Dalsey told me was it's Eclipse Prism, Heavy Prism, and a single crystal bit. But you know, this particular build does allow you to finish a tier 3 item that's got a tier 3 item that's got an immediate effect like the Frostburn, and you still unlock that divergent path. So now your basic attacks, as soon as you buy that item, will start to slow. So it's a pretty good item coming out from Baby Groot, and you saw had a little bit of efficacy in that fight. But most of these dives and most of these engages have been dictated by Baby Groot Part 2, level 6 on the Black Feather. Very, very hard to kite away from him. And Luke Cale is so far behind in levels, and see the damage that he's taking right now as well.
I feel like that's what he actually wanted. He was like, come on, impale me, bro. Just make Luke Cale actually come up to me. In fact, Baby Group Part 2 diving underneath the turret, repositioned out of danger. That is a massive divine intervention to save him. Asteroid punched him out of turret range on the glaive and actually saved his life, and got dinked the level as well. Asteroid taking a fair bit in the front line. However, isn't going to quite connect, but Baby Group Part 2 just hounding him with damage. This is a Black Feather that's come online and then some. Luke Cale has had such a rough game. He's 0-5, not even with a tier 3 item.
Yeah, and he has been absolutely dominated so far by 90 Degrees. And when you're Samuel's behind, you miss a large point of what the Samuel's good at doing. Samuel, we talked about it before, we're going to fight.
Only a small one. A double impale does land, but they can't fight Scoundrel. They just cannot do anything. Level 5 versus level 7 on the junglers. Like, this is going south very, very fast for Team Verdict. I don't know what they can do to come back. They need this Samuel to scale up, and he's going to be an Oblivion bot. That's what he's going to be at this point in time.
Exactly. It's not even like Samuel scales up like a ridiculous amount either, like compared to a Scarf or Celeste. Samuel scales well, but not Scarf or Celeste well. And, you know, one of the large sort of the reasons that people pick Samuel is his ability to be such a good lane siege tool. He's got a pretty good level 2 in the jungle, so he can trade quite effectively. But, you know, you've missed that now. You've lost that. You've lost the first turret. You're already way behind in terms of levels. The power spike that the Samuel would have affected this game in should have been a lot earlier in this game. And you can see it in the CS differential as well. It's a 30 CS difference in the jungle. That might not seem like a catastrophic amount, but in the jungle, that is a catastrophic amount. That is just a ridiculous CS differential between these two junglers. You can just see the difference in class, and 90 Degrees proving why they are still, you know, worthy of being in this competition.
Well, if you even just look at the standings of these two teams, I mean, 90 Degrees at seed 8 right now. They are, for math just like evaded me completely then. They are 5 seeds above Team Verdict. Team Verdict sitting at 13th seed. On paper, technically 90 Degrees, yeah, they should win, but it should be a little bit tough. But right now, they're making it look easy. Benediction in. Look at that damage coming out from Part 2. Oh my goodness, they're going to need a Part 3 in a minute, because this is, well, they might not even need a Part 3, because this game's going to be over in 10 minutes, it feels like. Asteroid had to back off there. No engage potential at all. Crystal just trying to defend against this turret push. We're 9 minutes in. We might just see another turret go down. Gold minus full. They've got the whole world that they can explore on the phone.
Got the whole world in their hands, have they, Jaws?
Yes, like the... Do you remember singing that in school? Did you ever do that?
I do. Let's talk about it after the fight, though.
Well, there's not much of a fight now. Baby Group Part 2 jumping in does find the executing blow on Asteroid, trying to kite back from that lance, though. Here's Luke Cale. Here's his time to shine. Baby Group is going to be able to dodge out, gets slept up. Luke Cale, can you do anything? I don't think you can. Rose offensive in. The on point is too much. There's the ace. Completely devastated, even though he did lose Baby Groot. Baby Groot and Baby Groot Part 2 doing a good job. 9 kills and 1 death right now for him. He is the hard carry of 90 Degrees.
I literally spent the hero select talking about, oh, you know, this is 90 Degrees. They've got their Idris. We know that Baby Groot loves to play this Idris. It's like this has been the Black Feather show. He has just romped in the jungle of Luke Cale and has just stormed his way through. He is now at a ridiculous item spike. He's gone for the Sorrow Blade Poison Shift build, which gives him a lot of on-hit damage as well. You know, straight up weapon power. Going to be forced to Rose offensive, or you know, as we used to call it Rose defensive in sort of Vainglory, because previous to this current meta, a lot of Black Feathers would simply use the Rose offensive to negate forms of CC or sort of get out of the gauntlet or whatever. But I'm not going to lie, this is one of the more aggressive Black Feather metas that we've had in quite a while, and you can see it here. He's just been super dominant over the Luke Cale, who is split between items as well. He's got a void battery, but he's also got a piercing shard. Like he's nowhere near to completing his next tier 3 item, be it we don't even know what that next tier 3 item could be.
Nope, Baby Groot dodges out of the impale. That leads the sign to go in. Baby Groot part 2 getting off a beautiful flank here. Jumps straight on top of Luke Kale, going very low. There's the Divine Intervention to keep him healthy. Echo is going to get popped as well, so we'll have that available on cooldown once more. Or off cooldown, I should say. Benediction onto the back line. Baby Groot gets stunned up once again. Oblivion does come through, and he's sleeping the minions. Not who you want to go for right now. Another Divine Intervention will save Baby Groot's life for the moment. Baby Groot part 2 diving straight in. Give him more. He's going to land, actually. He's going to get connected with the Afterburn as well. He's going extremely low. Pop the potion for the damage reduction. Baby Groot actually takes out Luke Kale. Finally finds himself a kill. Crystal goes down as well. The ace once more for 90 degrees. Might as well be called 180 degrees right now. Alexander, they're turning up the heat.
I thought you were going to make like a 180 reference, which wouldn't make any sense because they're sort of steamrolling ahead. But hey, let's go full 360 because they've gone back towards that red side. And they're going to push into that choke point turret with the ace buff. And you can see the death timers are so low right now. They got barely an opportunity to press their advantage. More jungle being stolen away here. And it's Baby Groot part 2 again, just going to clean things up. He's got 2,200 gold in his pocket. He is absolutely storming. He's got the Rose offensive to get him out of a hard situation if Crizio decides to put him there. But Crizio will just back off now, who has been pretty quiet on the lance, but realistically has had some good performances in the team fights. I want to praise Crizio. He's had some good Githian walls. His impales have mostly been on point. It's very hard to come back from the deficit that you see between these two junglers at this point in time.
On point. There's just too many jokes at this point to make, in all honesty. Baby Groot part 2 is a little bit caught out. Divine Intervention is going to come through. Asteroid already making his way out of the fight. They're going to jump straight back onto Luke Kale. He's trying to kite out the Drifting Dark. He doesn't even have an Oblivion available to him. Another Divine Intervention. Grace healing off an absolute storm. Oblivion comes out.
He's basically 1v3ing.
He is literally 1v3ing. Scoundrel 1-2. Oh my goodness. Crystal's going to have to make his way out because he is the only member left standing between them and an actual win right now, it seems. Does use the Impale to get a little bit of distance. Shimmer Strike straight on top of him, however, and a Benediction to chase him up. Oh, doesn't quite find the kill with the Chakram, but they are just going to jump straight onto these turrets. Crystal Sentry is making his way there as well. He wants to at least try and help defend. I think a 1v4 situation wouldn't be too hard for Gravy Group Part 2. They do lose a member. Quinn ends up going down. Too many turret hits taken. In fact, another member does fall as Baby Group Part 2 has to Rose offensive his way out of there. Over-aggression to the maximum, but at this point in the game, I'm not sure, they actually need to worry about that.
Well, they've got to be careful. There's a huge amount of global gold on the field right now in terms of the gold miner and also that first tier turret. They can't do those kind of plays and expect to get away with them every single time. Baby Groot trying to again go for this 1v3 style of play. Crizio jumps in.
He does jump in. He's going to have to jump straight back out of him. Rose defensive isn't available just yet. Does get the on point. The shielding comes through. Divine Intervention just to heal him up. Quinn, thank goodness he's going to be there with the shortest cooldown in the world. He's going to use that Echo as well to get that back off cooldown.
Yeah, Quinn has been bailing out his carries so well this game with the use of that Divine Intervention. They're going to continue their aggression. Crizio will be suspect here. The Rose offensive.
No. Just goes down again. Divine Intervention to heal him up once more. That stop of the back there was just so nice. Getting that on point through. And he does manage to secure the kill. They're going to take away some of the camps as well. 15 minutes approaching on the clock, and I'm not sure they're going to need the Kraken at this point. Oh, look at that. Shimmer Strike straight on top. Does get punted back into base and gets punished for it as well. Asteroid doing a good job of just repositioning Baby Groot and picks up a kill.
Yeah, well, actually, it's something that you can see from the 90 Degrees roster. They're making some slightly questionable moves because they feel like they are ridiculously far ahead. But those are the kind of moves that if you continue to make them, they will come back to punish you. And you could end up giving a way back in for this Team Verdict roster back into the series. So you need to be very careful about how you keep approaching this enemy base. You had plenty of options after getting a double kill there, or even just cleaning up the lance. You could have gone for the gold mine and just secured yourself a massive payout, which was going to despawn because Kraken is coming up in 10 seconds anyway. So there was plenty of better options on the map, but you've just got to keep an eye on 90 Degrees because if they continue to make moves like that, they are just giving an avenue back in for the Verdict roster to get back into this game.
Yeah, it's one of those age-old situations in games, and especially on MOBAs. Literally, really anything. When you get just too aggressive, too cocky because you are ahead. I mean, you're playing a little bit too aggressive. You're positioning very oddly, and you just give your opponents ways back in. If they find a kill, maybe they can take Kraken then, and then half your base has gone, etc. So they're going to have to be very careful. Holding over onto 2 people, though, as a fight does end up breaking out nice and pale. Divine Intervention onto Baby Group Part 2 does end up surviving. Luke Hale is going to be the target once again. Chimmer Strike straight on top of him. Baby Group going very, very low. There's a nice heal, and it already taking out that Samuel as a double kill for the Black Feather. Baby Group Part 2 doing a good job of securing these kills. Asteroid, the last member alive, and they're just going to chase him down with that Chakram and Ace on the board, eventually finding it. 90 degrees, they will secure game number 1, and they'll be 1-0 up in this series as well.
Yeah, it's the classic case of the tortoise and the hare. The hare gets so far ahead and decides to take a nap, and the tortoise ends up creeping up and overtaking them. But this time round, the hare of 90 degrees did not take a nap and decided to just steamroll over the finish line after just doing a little bit of sightseeing along the way. And they will be able to close this game out here for 90 degrees and give themselves their 1-0 up in this series. And again, they need to win this to go into that playoff bracket.
Yeah, that they do. The main crystal's going to shatter, it's going to fall, and Baby Group Part 2 finds his first death of the game. Stats ruined. It's all over, boys. GG go next. That's exactly what Team Verdict are going to be thinking right now. And what can they really do up against that? I mean, Baby Group Part 2 just took over the game. Is there any... Do they just ban Blackfeather here? Is it that much of an issue?
The problem is, I think it's more the Samuel's the issue. Like, I almost think Samuel's better in lane than he is in the jungle right now, because he's got a lot of jungle matchups that I think can go very poorly for him. You shouldn't really get dominated by a Blackfeather in the early jungle, personally, because Blackfeather, until he gets his Rose Offensive, just is very bad at sort of gap closing effectively onto a Samuel, who does get this weird movement speed buff when you use Malice and Verdict. But it's just because if you get behind in the Samuel matchup versus Blackfeather, which shouldn't really happen, you're just going to get continually punished. And Baby Group Part 2 just starved that jungle for Samuel, who just became essentially a moving scout trap for the majority of the game there.
Pretty insane stuff coming out of Baby Group Part 2. Verdict every time we see them. Sorry, not Verdict. 90 degrees every time we see them. I think are just getting better and better here in the Vainglory League, which is exciting. It's really exciting to have a team that has been here 3 seasons. We've seen them for 3 seasons now at Scoundrel. And every time we see them, I think they are genuinely, as a team, getting better. They've stuck together as a roster for quite some time now, and it's starting to show. Their hard work is starting to pay off. The individual players are getting more and more confident and more comfortable with each other, and 90 degrees is once more looking like a very solid contender. They're one win away from making it into the playoffs. The winner of this series will go up against E-Monkeys in the playoffs as well. A very exciting matchup, I think, as well. Man, I think it's time to focus on Verdict, what they possibly can do differently if they want to stand a chance in this series.
Yeah, to be honest, that's a really difficult question to answer, Darcy, because that was just both gameplay wise, mechanical wise, everything. They were just picked apart by 90 degrees there. They need to get a serious counter pick in the draft and exploit it. They definitely need to shore up their jungle, because that was a major weakness for them in the last game. But it feels like they are just being a little bit outclassed here. You don't like to say it, but it does feel that way, the way that 90 degrees are playing right now. And
you kind of talk about this counter pick. They're on A side. It's so hard to counter pick anything on A side or get such a strong meta pick that you take over. In double ban, teams feel confident first picking something that is super strong. CP address very strong, and it does seem like they're going to take it away here, Verdict, but obviously on single ban, a little bit different in the way that you can kind of shore up that strong first pick. So we've already got this Idris come through. We're going to see a Glaive locked in here. We'll have to see exactly what the side of 90 degrees are feeling. I love the Lance into Idris. I think Lance with a Glaive provides a lot of lockdown, but Grace as well with Idris is super strong, or makes him super sustainable.
Yeah, I like the Grace and the Glaive lock-in. Remember, Glaive commits himself very hard to fights when he uses the Afterburn, so the Divine Intervention obviously going to give you that ability to keep that Glaive in the fight, get a couple more basic attacks in before he can try and find his way out as well. So I like this coming in. Do love the Finn pick, though. I think Finn, great body blocker, really good at preventing sort of, you can kind of stand on your carry as well, and also the polite company also allows you to deliver some fortified health to them also, which makes it a little bit harder to take them down. So yeah, really like this from Verdict. I think this has been a pretty sensible draft so far, and I think it's
Ooh.
that's an interesting one, because now this forces the weapon power Idris, unless it's going to be a magical weapon power Batiste, it forces a weapon power Idris, which doesn't match up very well against the Glaive in the lane, even less so than a CP Idris as the game goes on. So
In theory, I think you can still go CP Idris. If this Petal gets locked in, I 100% go CP Idris. Maybe now it's a Samuel. You consider weapon power. From what we saw Vainglory 8, SK I believe did it, made double CP work with CP Idris.
Yeah.
I think that CP Idris is kind of the missing component of double CP, because in late game his auto attacks, his chakrams, the amount easily stackable broken myth kind of negates the fact that you're building two of the same power damage.
yeah, I actually do see that. I think we have seen a lot of double CP coming through. Especially since you've got the Finn, so Finn is often considered one of the better picks into double CP because of that polite company, but we'll have to see where Asteroid decides to go.
Yeah, Weapon Blade. That's a weapon power Idris. Alright, that's that done. I think into Samuel, Scarf, build a tension bow, try and delete the Scarf. Maybe it works out. This is elimination possibility for Team Verdict. It's playoffs possibility for the side of 90 Degrees. Jaws and Scoundrel, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Dowsey. Will Beta Group Part 2 pop off again? That's the big question on everybody's lips, I think. Quinn going for a very aggressive jungle route early on, yet again. This is the second time he's done this. He's going to have to be careful. He is going very low. Popping those boots. Chrysler doing the same thing, rocking the new skin as well, by the way. That looks absolutely insane.
Yeah, Bakuto Finn is very, very cool. So, yeah, you can see Chrysler here. He's going to try and do his best, but the polite company will not steal away, and that'll be a central Treant secure for 90 Degrees, who have got a very good late game carry of their own. You've got the Scarf, and I actually see Baby Groot going for one of the starts that we sometimes see a lot of junglers like to do with the Swift Shooter.
Oh, Asteroid, not where you want to be. He takes the tower here. There's the Goot. There's the Spitfire. Oh, man, that was punishing. That'll be first blood yet again, going over to Baby Groot Part 2.
There we go. It is 90 Degrees as per usual. They have the sort of the momentum from that last win. They're making those proactive plays coming from the jungle, and that's just something that we've seen from them over and over again in VGL. They're kind of known for being so super proactive, and Baby Groot here on this Scarf lane. It's interesting that we're going to see Part 2 playing from the jungle here, and then Baby Groot taking the Scarf into the lane. It's a slightly worse matchup for Scarf as this goes on, because Weapon Power Idris is very good at putting pressure on the Scarf, but you do get those item spikes more readily, and Scarf isn't one of those carries that kind of relies on level spikes. He's more of an item spike based carry, so this is going to allow him to achieve those a bit more quickly.
I just want to point out as well, Quinn has actually, Call Me Quinn is going very low in this game, in this fight even, not in this game in general. Luke Hale is going to rotate towards the lane. I want to get my point out really quick, and I can do it now. Weapon Blade was actually the first item, one of the first items she's picking up here, so really aggressive it seems she wants to play in the early game, just sustaining a little bit more of that damage against Asteroid on this Idris.
This is something that Flash X actually popularized from what I remember. When Grace was in a really strong position before she had her movement speed nerfed and all that kind of thing, you could just walk into the enemy jungle with a boots Weapon Blade start, and you could literally 1v2 the enemy. Literally just 1v2, steal camps and boots to get away, because she had the highest base movement speed, and the boots made it even more abusive. So as a build that was around when Grace was in a really strong position, and it still works to some extent now, but it's just less dominating because of that reduction of movement speed on the Grace.
We're still going to be packing a little bit of a punch. And speaking about packing a little bit of a punch, that's Asteroid going very low. In fact, Spitfire's just going to take him out. Asteroid's stepping up to the plate, but, the plate's just going to hit him in the back of the head. And his positioning in these games, in all honesty, Excalibur, has been kind of questionable.
He was okay on the
time he's done that.
He was okay on the Glaive. I think Scarf into Idris, I talked about the lane matchup, and obviously you have the disadvantage of a range mismatch, and you can see, like, early game especially, when you hit the divergent paths and you can look to be aggressive, it's actually, I think, a little bit more favoured for Idris. Early laning phase, obviously, it's going to be in favour of Scarf. I mean, Dowsey was just literally telling me now that he's played a lot of Scarf and a lot of Idris recently. He doesn't mind the Scarf into Idris matchup, and I think I like it, especially pre-6. and especially pre-divergent paths. But against the weapon power Idris, after divergent paths, obviously that's going to be a little bit more difficult, especially if you stay even and he tries to go all in on you. It's quite difficult to sort of match that kind of sustained damage output, especially if he can get his way around the goop.
We'll see if he's able to kind of scale up then in that case, because Scarf is such a late game terror like we mentioned in the game before, which they didn't have. I mean, Baby Groot already putting a lot of pressure down to that tier 1 turret. That's a lot of damage from Asteroid. Holy Nova is going to actually stun him up for the time being. Baby Groot Part 2 is making his way towards the lane to help his brother out. Crysor doing a fairly good job at the moment of just kind of dissuading a lot of that damage, but Scarf Siege is just hella disgusting.
It really is.
Right now. I mean, look at Baby Groot Part 2. He's just moving forward, moving Asteroid out of the fight. Benediction's going to use onto him as well. He's going to get chunked out, forced to pop that potion. Ordained comes out onto Quinn. They end up just backing off. First tier turret, once again, is going to go down to 90 degrees.
Another matchup that we haven't really touched on is the Scarf into Batiste matchup. Batiste is very, very good at dealing with melee laners or anybody that's melee. Oh, wait.
Oh, Lucre, yeah. Speaking about Scarf into the Batiste, he's going very low. Beautiful use of the goop there to actually stop Crystal and Batiste walking away. Asteroid in a lot of trouble as well. Wrong place, wrong time, buddy. He is going to fall. This time, Baby Groot Part 2 is going to find the kill, and at least he's sharing them with Part 1 this time.
That goop placement from Baby Groot right there was absolutely ridiculous. The siege comes out from the Scarf again, and Part 2 and Part 1 should get another turret under their belts here. Crisio's just too low, doesn't have the fountain even completed yet.
Ooh. Not going to quite go down. In fact, Call Me Quinn actually is going to have to sacrifice his own life. Gets a Holy Nova off and a Benediction as well. Might just be okay. Did pop the potion. Damage reduction there. Polite Company is going to hit him. Lucael is going to be able to find him. Root up. Not sure if he's going to get away. I don't think he will. Ordain's going to come out. There we go. There's going to be the stun. He's going to go down. Lucael finding that kill. Oh, no. Crysor actually found it in the end. Not the person you really wanted to give it over to, but a kill's a kill nonetheless.
Yeah, a kill is just on the scoreboard right now for Team Verdict, who have just been absolutely manhandled by 90 degrees in this game. It has been... I want to say it's been close, but I'd be lying to you. It's been dominating from 90 degrees. But this is a team that has been in the VGL for quite a long time. They have had huge amounts of experience against the top teams, and they've always performed. So they play really solid unit. They play great tactically. They've got great decision making, and they can really push their advantage.
Oh, speaking about pushing their advantage, this is exactly what they are doing. Call Me Quinn stunning 2 members up in the back line, but Baby Groot is in a lot of trouble. Asteroid trying to trace him down. He actually just gets cut up by Groot. Part 2. He's got his back. He always does. You know he's there. Lucael is trying to run away. Dragon's buff is going to get charged up. Crysor just running away, using that boots and potion. Part 2 is just chasing Lucael, finds the kill in the end. He is definitely impressive. 6-1, by the way, at the 7-minute mark. A kill a minute. Almost a 5,000 gold lead now for the side of 90 degrees. This is going all too wrong now for Team Verdict as they lose yet another member.
Yeah, and they'll be able to push in. They're going to steal away more jungle farm. CS differential, 39 to 76 in the lane. And, well, actually, you'll find that Lucael's kept up and fairly even this game, but he has spent most of the game farming. You know, compared to Baby Groot, who has spent a lot of the time ganking and trying to get the game snowballing in their favour. This has just been, it's been crazy. It's almost been, it's sort of disgusting to watch in a way. They've really played around this fact that Scarf's got great siege, and obviously with the turret reduction in health on this last update, Scarf siege becomes even more disgusting on the first turret because you just throw down a goop and a couple of Spitfires and suddenly you're chunking through half the turret's HP with a single goop, which is absolutely ridiculous. They're going to be looking for this gold miner here. They might be able to secure it. A stray Chakram could steal the day.
Yeah, Force to Quarter is available there. Comes the Fearsome Shade.
Oh, they got it!
Pretty big, but they do manage to get it with a bad mojo, I believe. Call Me Quinn is going to be able to just lock on to Asteroid. Big Force to Quarter. Ordain's going to come out as well. Baby Groot in a lot of trouble, but Crysor already goes down. Divine Intervention healing up the Scarf. Dragon's Breath channeled. Not even needed. Triple kill for Baby Groot Part 2. The ace comes through as well. That's what you get for taking our gold miner.
8 minutes into the game, they're going to get their back camp stolen away once more, and this might even be a successful push onto the choke point turret, but because it's 8 minutes into the game, death timers are just so low. One thing I do want to point out is how you can see Weapon Power Idris versus Scarf. If this was an even matchup, Weapon Power Idris would be tearing Scarf alive. The last two fights, Asteroid has actually genuinely threatened Baby Groot part 1. I keep saying part 1, it's just Baby Groot. But has genuinely threatened them in these team fights. The team fight just previous that into the lane, he actually almost killed him. He was a sliver of HP away. So if this was more even, you'd see that Weapon Power Idris is one of a pretty decent pick into Scarf in that way. Divine Intervention comes through. Call me Quinn. Got that obviously available. He unlocked that in the last fight. That was pretty influential. And now that is going to make it harder and harder to kill this Scarf. Even if Asteroid finds his opening 2 levels down, it'll be even harder to get through that 40% damage reduction that Divine Intervention provides.
Just such a good hero is Grace, especially when she has Echo on board. I can imagine that's going to be the next time on the menu. Beautiful Crucible block on the Force Accord. They need to make something happen. I mean, the desperation plays are going to be coming out, and you've got to imagine they're going to want to focus Baby Groot. But I thought they were going to go in. Ordained was going to just get unleashed, but there's nothing more they can really do at this point. They're just going to have to give up to this siege, and the problem with being behind against comps that are so good at sieging, such as the Scarf, is they can just take the turrets right in front of your face and right under your feet. There's no way you can defend against it unless you've got some all-in engage, and unless a Force Accord hits its Scoundrel, there's not really a way for them to actually contest the Scarf.
Yeah, and again, the Scarf is so safe behind that Grace line. If you want to try and dive her, you've got 3 melee heroes. Grace thrives on 3 melee heroes. It's interesting that Call Me Quinn actually maxed Benediction. In a lot of ways, people often say maxing Holy Nova against 3 melee heroes is better because obviously you get it on cooldown more quickly. Lucao's going to be forced to pop his boots.
Lucao taking Spitfire after Spitfire. Fearsome Shady is going to get unleashed, and he will actually stop Baby Groot from advancing. The Crystal Sentry is taking a large chunk out of him, actually, and does mean part 2 is going to have to back off as well. That Crystal Sentry slow is doing a lot more than what can be anticipated, especially when you're chasing with boots. So, Light Company is going to get used. Afterburn away over the wall. They are going to flare him out as well. They did manage to take the gold mine in that situation, though. Part 2, yeah, gives up his own life. That's fair enough. Forced to call was used in the end. Queen going in for the 1v3 as Groot, number 1, is marching his way down towards the jungle as well. He's just caught out completely here. He might just end up going down to a Shimmer Strike. He does indeed. And that'll actually be a complete turnaround for Team Verdict. They are going to be able to find this ace as well if they find the kill onto Quinn. Asteroid is chasing him down as well. Finds the Shimmer Strike kill, or the Chakram kill even. The ace comes through. This might just be the shining star, or the shining glimmer of hope they were looking for.
I mean, it's like 90 Degrees learnt no lessons from their previous game. When you're really far ahead, it's sensible to just try and win the game. Not do anything flashy. Use your advantage to win the game, but 90 Degrees, they love flair. They love going into the enemy jungle, 1v3ing, taking weird and odd engages, but this is not a weird and non-engage, but they are going for the turret here. Baby Groot is going to be forced back. Lucao's on the wrong side of nowhere.
Part 2 is caught up in the Ordained. Here comes the Dragon Breath onto a couple of people. And in fact, Lucale already falls here, so Chrysler is actually just in a 1v3. As already goes down, they do trade it for Part 2, but Baby Groot's got the items, he's got the damage, and he will be able to secure the double kill and the ace. So a return ace for a turret, not something you want, because that Scarf is just going to melt through your base now.
Yeah, at least the choke point turret now finally opened up here for 90 Degrees. A slip in their concentration could shore things up. Get another turret on the board. Baby Groot is now finally building some defense. Bit of shielding. Obviously with Lucale primarily being interested in him, he knows that it's unlikely that the Weapon Power Idris is going to be spending a lot of his time trying to deal with the glaive, or at least it'll be an afterthought after the Scarf regardless. And Scarf, as we talk about him, is nearly at his 4-item build right now. So Baby Groot and Baby Groot Part 2 equally as threatening as the Broken Myth does get completed, as well as an infusion in tow as well. That Scarf's going to hit really hard now.
Oh, yes, he is. And look at that. 1 Spitfire plus the Goot. That equals half of Asteroid's health going away. Lucale, wrong place or wrong time. Trying to be in your own jungle. Apparently, that's not where you want to be. Baby Groot is going to be able to find the kill. Chrysor is just trying to get away. A double kill for the Scarf. That Crystal Sentry will be eliminated now as well at the 13-minute mark. This is going all one way, Scandal. And it's going to go 90 Degrees way again, I feel.
Yeah, 90 Degrees again, putting Petal to the medal. That's the wrong way round. Metal to the pedal. And they are... I don't
pedal
even know if
to
that
the
was...
metal.
Yeah,
pedal.
I just said it wrong 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
We're just going to ignore that I ever said that. And Gold Miner's getting taken.
Oh, dear. Well, I think everybody's a little bit confused right now. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I'm a little lost for words as well. Coming out of the gate, you're saying, okay, an 8th seed team versus the 13th seed. It's going to be a little bit of an upwards hill struggle for Team Verdict, but it's a walk in the park for 90 Degrees at this current time. They are looking very formidable and very, very scary. Some of these top tier teams like E-Monkeys are going to have to be a bit scared and going to have to look at these and going, okay, part 2 just takes over games. And, you know, Baby Groot, original OG, he is just an absolute monster on this Scarf as well, be it or not that it is quite overpowered right now.
Yeah, Scarf's in a really good position in the meta. Just kind of mess up the placement of the goop there. Now he's kind of caught in that Ordain, not a place that you want to be as Scarf, but Asteroid not in a position.
Look at that Spitfire hit accuracy, though. He does just end up burning away Lucail regardless. Forced to call into the base. Won't quite find anything. Double forced to call. He's still going to be able to survive.
Hey, there we go.
Though. Shimmer Strike is going to find that kill. Nice double Holy Nova. Won't stop the kills going over actually to Asteroid. Nice use of the Echo there. Double forced to call into the base. Apparently you need your own fountain turret to actually get the kills.
But one thing that we do need to say about 90 Degrees is they aren't respecting the weapon power Idris in any way, shape or form. No armor, apart from Cool Me Quinn with the Atlas Pauldrons, but no armor on the carries. Baby Groot Part 2, 4 offensive items. Baby Groot OG, as you like to call him, which I quite like, 4 offensive items. So if Asteroid can go untouched in these fights, he will actually... weapon power Idris hits very, very quickly and hits pretty hard too. He will shred through these carries if he's given the time. So if these fights get messy, if a Forced Accord hits or a Fearsome Shade hits and things start to get a little bit wishy-washy for the 90 Degrees roster, Asteroid will actually have a field day here. So I genuinely think there is a world where 90 Degrees do need to be careful.
7-16 though, the score is definitely their lead. They have 6,000 gold advantage as well. Scarf picking up those tier 3 boots. It's going to be all the more speedy now. Kraken is being taken. This is going to be make or break time for Team Verdict. If they lose this, there's only 2 turrets standing in their way. Chrysos's coming in. There comes the Fearsome Shady. It is going to get blocked and it is going to get secured by Baby Groot Part 2. Baby Groot Part 1. The OG is trying to get something done here. Massive Dragon's Breath onto 3 people. Ordain's going to come out as well. The huge heal, but now Baby Groot's in a 1v3 situation. He needs to be able to turn this one around. The big heals are just too much for Team Verdict to deal with. He pops the boost to get distance on the Idris. Not sure if he can find the kill on him. He doesn't in the end. Asteroid does end up taking him out. He is burning away. Benediction is still going to be there for Quinn. Can he find the kill? He does get the ace eventually, but Team Verdict, they still need to deal with that Kraken. Amazing, Alexandra. What an insane fight. What a breakdown.
I accidentally muted my microphone. That was pretty insane. I love the way that you were like, amazing Excalibur. Yeah, really insane fight because I realised Excalibur hasn't come in. Asteroid will rip through this Kraken, as you can see. Idris is one of the best Kraken takers in the game, in my opinion, simply on his weapon power build path, simply because he has such ridiculous attack speed. And the use of that chakram, which you can bounce on multiple times. You can see, didn't even get one turret by the time that it went down. Goodness me. Incredible. I mean, this is what happens when you don't build armor against a weapon power Idris, and he's very hard to lock down as well because you get that Shroud Step off cooldown so much more quickly. Shimmer Strike can be used to negate a large portion of damage. You do need to respect this Idris. Got to respect his authority as that weapon power Idris build path.
His authority.
Respect my authority.
Where is that from? South
Park.
From
South Park, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
An old episode, but it is from South Park.
All right. See, I'm not a connoisseur of South Park. I'm not going to lie.
Well, then you're not a connoisseur of life, my friend.
Of good. I thought you were going to say good media, but
good memes.
and good memes. Yeah. The only episode I have watched, I think most people have watched it, is the World of Warcraft episode.
That was a good episode, though.
It was indeed. It's a good episode. It's not really a TV show. This is a good episode of Vainglory. VGL. Good episode of VGL to watch if you're a fan of 90 Degrees. They're going to go for another fight. Fearsome Shade is going to get blocked. Forced to cord. Actually dragging the Scarf back in. A double divine intervention is going to heat him up. However, Lucail in the 1v1. This is his time to shine. Dragon's Zest going to get unleashed. But he just burned straight in front of him. So he managed to find one kill. And now it's just trying to run away. The fin ends up falling. A beautiful skin it may be, but those metal legs won't carry your way to victory if you don't have your carries to be by your side. I think this is going to be the game against Scoundrel. They've only got 2 turrets left in front of them to take down to see them in playoffs. 90 degrees with an absolute showing in this best of 3, showing what they can do on the Scraf, and the sheer aggressiveness from their composition and their team is just bewildered Team Verdict.
Asteroid holding the wave though, and it's only 2 seconds until the Baptiste is back up available. Asteroid single-handedly keeping them in the game right now. And the Kraken respawning, that will allow Baby Groot and his squad to set up for that. Baby Groot was knocked around that last team fight like a ping pong ball. But the issue was the Shimmer Strike was used, and then Asteroid was like, poo, I can't get back into the fight. And obviously was then stuck on the outside doing nothing for the majority of it. He needs to be there, stuck to the Scarf as much as physically possible. And you know, he is the single threat against Scarf. I mean, if Baptiste gets locked in a 1v1 versus Scarf, Scarf's going to tear him apart. So it's all up to Asteroid. He needs to take out the Scarf, and if they take out the Scarf, they can win.
There are so many more descriptive words he could have used, Scoundrel, but I'll let you off for the moment.
I was going to say crap, but, you know, I said it now.
Well, you said it now. It's too late. It can't be undone. Neither can that damage on Baby Groot, though, although the Divine Intervention will prove me wrong. Baby Groot on the back line still, another 2-man quibble. Crystal's really carrying this fight, but they've now isolated Lucal, although that bad mojo was just way too much for Baby Groot to handle. Part 2, in fact. Baby Groot Part 1, the OG is going down as well. Another ace for Team Verdict. The Kraken's on the board. Big Scoundrel. Team Verdict have just sentenced 90 degrees to the Shadow Realm. They're going to be able to take this Kraken and just going to be able to seize the base now.
That is the Finn, multiple man quibbles, great use of the Forced Accord, making it very difficult to lock down. And I've got to say, it's also the fact that they just still aren't respecting the damage output of a weapon power Idris. You know, I would be in some cases selling my selling my Aegis or selling my Reflex block and just literally going for armor, although against the amount of CC coming through it's probably not advisable, but you know, armor needs to be weaved in here at some point. You either get armor or you focus the weapon power Idris, but Crizio on this Finn has been, you know, fantastic. At every single fight he's been influential, be it with his Forced Accords or his polite company usage, the quibbles as well, which you can obviously echo. You know, echoing quibbles is one of the strongest things that you can do in the middle of a fight, and Crizio has been massively impactful over the course of these last couple of team fights.
Oh, there's another Forced Accord. Only finds Quinn for the moment, but a double Forced Accord brings in all members. Crucible is going to get popped here. Fearsome Shade's going to come through. Only hit Quinn, but the fight is completely separated. Baby Groot Part 2 strapped in the Ordain and is going to get punished for it as well. Quinn's in the front line. That passive's worn off now. A Quibble does stun him up, and a bad mojo over the wall is going to be able to find the kill. This is the base getting broken here from Team Verdict. 90 degrees with the disrespect on Team Verdict, and now just paying the price. That Goop is going to be able to shut down Kraken, but it's a 3v1 for Baby Groot, which looks like an easy feat for them 5 minutes into the game or 10 minutes in, but right now he can't do anything to them.
And you have to open up the question, was it necessary for them to make some of these 1v3 plays? Did they need to be a little bit over-aggressive in sort of the mid-game? I don't know. It's not over just yet, though. Well, yeah, it is.
It's not over just yet. It's the Crystal Falls, and that'll be Team Verdict taking game number 2. This is going the full distance.
That's why I like Weapon Power Idris into Scarf. It's so easy to stick to him. A little bit like a Celeste. You can dodge a lot of the CC like the Goop, and you can just absolutely burn him through. And a lot of Scarfs don't adapt their build these days. They want to go for that 4-item build on Scarf. They don't want to pick up armor. And you saw what a Weapon Power Idris, especially with Tension Bow, will do. If you don't build armor, he will just tear you apart. But, you know, give credit where credit's due. Crizio was one of the main reasons these fights went the way they did. Some of the echo usage of the Forced Accord, echo usage of the Quibble as well. Always hitting people in the midst of these fights with Quibble. That last fight, he actually hit Call Me Quinn. Couldn't proc the fountain, and that meant that Baby Groot Part 2 went down. So Crizio was a major impact in these games, but it was simply just Asteroid tearing people apart in the fights, because again, you just disrespect Weapon Power Idris, he will just destroy you.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Sell the clockwork, buy a metal jacket, Bob's your uncle, Baby Groot would have been died as quickly as possible, but holy moly, Crizio's ability to just destroy fights was insane, and I actually think possibly, I'm actually going to throw it back over to the screen so you can see it. One of the main components that I just really dislike when you have such a hyper carry on your team like Scarf is this 4 damage items on Glaive. Get rid of it, Build yourself some
No,
armor.
I agree.
Get yourself
agree.
a crucible even, because you're up against a Quibble, a double, an echoed Finn plus a Batiste. Get yourself a crucible for your team, and that game could have gone completely differently. 90 degrees,
I agree.
too big in their boots, too much disrespect. They lose that game, and great for Verdict. They really executed on the disrespect that was being shown, executed well. We're going to a game 3 now, and we'll have to see exactly how these teams react to it. Is this like the adrenaline infusion that Verdict needs to just swipe 90 degrees off the Halcyon Fold? Was Team Verdict going to learn from games 1 and 2 and perhaps the disrespect they've shown and the mistakes they've made and look to play a different game? That's really the question we're going to ask ourselves, I think. I'm just going to double check the teams already. Because whoever wins this series will be up against E-Monkeys. They're going to have the experience of Voldemar. They're going to have a team that can just turn crazy plays out of thin air like magic. It's a hard team to play against and to kind of have this style of craziness. I don't know, man. Insane so far this series.
If you build glaive like that, you've got to have a target. If I build glaive like that, I'm usually playing against a Celeste or a Scarf or something, right? I know they're not going to have armor. I want to burst them. I am the burst target. I jump in on them and just try and kill them as quickly as possible, like Weapon Power Idris would do. Who are you actually trying to kill if you glaive that game? You've got a Metal Jacket Idris. You're not going to burst him. You've got a Batiste who is fairly tanky in his own right, got great disengage, can lock you down with the Ordained. You're not going to burst him. It was just a build of disrespect because they were so far ahead. Then they decided to do some weird 1v3s. They took some fights that potentially were like 2v3s they just shouldn't have taken. And they got punished for it. They need to shore things up. And, 90 degrees, they're on the A side this time round. They're going to get the grace again. But they need to make sure that if they get that early game lead, which they have had every single game, they make sure they capitalize on it. They don't give anything away. There's been instances where they could have gone for global objectives. They could have gone for easy turrets, but they just went and tried to fight or do something crazy. Don't need to do that. Just take the easy, securing path, and you'll find your way to victory.
Well, we'll have to see how they take it. Kryza once more going to be on this Finn. Super impactful. MVP, in my opinion, of the late game fights. Quibbles after quibbles, hitting all 3 members, and then when one died, all 2 members in the fight. Like, that is just game-changing stuff. We're going to see a Black Feather come through for the side of 90 degrees. They've got that Grace, which Call Me Quinn has been very impactful on. They've got the Black Feather. Take away the Celeste. Celeste super good into Vox at the moment due to the range that she has in the late game Scoundrel.
Yeah, absolutely. Celeste really good at just stopping Vox from even getting close. Vox is one of those heroes that actually does really well into short-range matchups. He does actually pretty decent into melee matchups because he can kite and slow very effectively, but against the range of things like Scarf or Celeste, can't get in range for basic attacks. Vox is one of the shortest range basic attack carries in the game, which, understandably so because he has so much mobility. But against the likes of Celeste, he just gets torn apart. And, whoa, that is a ballsy pick. If you ever needed one in a deciding game, it is the Taka, the literal feast or famine hero here, Chelsea.
Yeah, Taka does very good into Celeste early. I think in the late game, as soon as Celeste gets to her 4 damage and perhaps her defensive item can deal with the Tucker, especially with a Grace, double Divine Intervention to Fountain, and with the Black Feather threatening, hopefully, for the side of 90 degrees, there is a lot of win potential for them in the late game. But if 90 degrees, and this is their win condition, are able to get close in the fights onto the Celeste with Tension Bows, Aftershocks, Shattered Glass, all these kind of big burst items, then they have a chance of deleting Baby Groot's Part 2 from the Halcyon Fold instantly, and if they are able to do that, then there is an opportunity for them to win. Surprisingly, we're going to see Black Feather lane, Celeste in the jungle. Perhaps not what we normally see in the meta, but this is it. This is the 3rd game of this series. Winner of this match here, Jaws, is going through the playoffs to play up against E-Monkeys.
Oh, yes, they are. Man, that disrespect is now turned into a game number 3 with Team Verdicts, like you said, picking up this Taka. This is going to be a pretty interesting one coming into it because, like you said, that Celeste, more than likely going to build 4 damage items, just wants to pump out as much as he can in the late game, but Ataka's going to be able to easily deal with her if she's not careful.
Interesting items. Asteroid likely going to be going towards the poison shift first. Lucael starting the double weapon blade. It's not going to immediately spell weapon power Taka, just because this helps Taka clear the jungle early on, because Taka's jungle clear otherwise is actually pretty slow. So by taking double weapon blade, it allows you to clear a little bit more quickly.
Call me
put some
Quinn.
pressure onto Call Me Quinn here.
He's in a lot of trouble, but a beautiful core collapse. Oh dear, now Lucael's in a lot of trouble as well. He's going to get spotted. Heliogenesis signals first blood going over to Baby Groot.
There we go. Black Feather gets rolling. This is something that was very, very positive for 90 Degrees the last time we saw them play with the Black Feather. Asteroid, though, has just been farming in lane. Just trying to get that advantage. Couldn't push it quickly enough towards the turret, so Baby Groot should get the remains of these lane minions coming towards him. As Baby Groot Part 2 picks up 3 crystal bits, so he's going to start chowing through this jungle very quickly.
Chowing down. Exactly what I was doing earlier as well. Got a nice dinner waiting for me. Gonna be good.
Thanks for that, bro.
You were eating
Great
as well.
information.
So I
right
thought
now.
I thought I had my, own snippet of information. What? I
From
don't
a
know.
long, hard day of work of casting. Got my wifey to put the meal out for me when I get home, boys. Just Jaws the caster.
Jaws the caster. Got a dinner waiting for me, Scoundrel. That's equivalent on to Quinn. He's going to have to just back off. Lucael is going to be very, very fierce in the early game. His ability to actually get onto the back line is going to be heightened as well with that Finn. I mean, Chrysal, again, picking up this fit. It just seems like a hero built for this guy. Like, this guy, just absolutely insane mechanics in the later game. And with that, we're going to have Vox scaling up as well. They're ready to take this to, a 15, 20-minute slogger. And I think, in all honesty, if 90 Degrees play like they did in game number 2 and disrespect the early advantages that he did gain, they're going to be in it with a tough surprise later on.
I'm gonna just hold out our hand here, Jaws. If this goes to the late game, 90 Degrees should decimate.
Should.
Verdict.
If they don't disrespect, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. They should decimate. Because you've got Celeste. Celeste is one of the best late game carries. Black Feather scales really, really well. And Taka does fall off. Like, Taka's real spike is like Aftershock level 6. That's kind of where Taka snowballs the game. But Taka's in a fight right now.
He is trying to go in for the one. I was actually looking at. I'm so guilty of this. Looking in the lane, he is going to go down to Baby Groot Part 2. He's going to be able to pick up another a kill to start him off. This is what we didn't want to see if you're Team Verdict fans. Baby Groot and Baby Groot Part 2 getting early kills and being able to snowball it into the mid game because they are very good at doing so.
They look like they mean business this time round, Jaws. Like you mentioned, don't want to throw away their advantages that they get in the early game. They look like they are systematically trying to sort of skim gold off the map by taking those jungle camps away where they can. They've been playing a little bit more tempered here. Baby Groot just going to be farming up as well, has kept up with farm with Asteroid and has rotated very well as well. And Asteroid is something that I have noticed from Asteroid. His reluctance to rotate out of the lane has kind of been a hindrance for the Verdict Gaming roster as Lucael heads towards this lane. Dalsy just wanted to let everyone know that he has got tacos and burritos waiting for him. So
that is a stellar. That's like an 8 out of 10 dinner right there. Just saying.
I'm a big fan of tacos and burritos.
Oh,
absolutely.
Man. The thing is, I live in a place where it doesn't have too many. There's not a high street near me. Well, there is, but it sucks. Baby Groot's in a sucky position. Hang on a second. I'll finish my story in a minute when he uses his boots away. Quinn is going to come through. Baby Groot is going to be able to get out alive if he's not careful. So Storm is going to come through. Fountain's going to heal him up. Quibble actually to stun him as well. Lucael trying to find his entrance back into this. X-Retsu's going to be available again in a second. Core Collapse is going to come through and actually dissuade the rest of them. Baby Groot is actually wandered down from the lane. A Quibble will stun up Quinn. But now Asteroid is ability to rotate for the lane is not too prevalent for the moment, but it did manage to get there in the end, although he is just going to get caught up by Quinn again. This is a back and forth game. Asteroid going very low once more, just popping that. I believe that was a fountain coming out from Team Verdict. I don't know what just happened, but Quinn does end up almost falling down to Crystal. Baby Groot trying to duel him now. He's got so many heartthrob stacks.
Beautiful.
Gets the ult off and does manage to pick up the kill.
Wonderful feat there from Baby Groot. Uses the Rose offensive, predicting the Quibble coming out, and then finds the execute. I don't know. Again, you're fighting before Taka's hit his item spike of level 6, And level 6 for Taka is literally where he unlocks Exaretsu at level 6. So Exaretsu at level 6 is literally Taka's main power spike. So before that, you have no way to close the gap onto the Celeste. You have no way to realistically. Apologies to Jaws and everybody else on the stream who accidentally heard my phone go off in the middle of the previous fight. I had to very quickly silence it, and Jaws has just let me know that it was very distracting.
So hard.
Jaws has let me know that was very distracting, and I'm very sorry.
Because I'm like half laughing at the same time. Oh boy. It's not a funny
It's the
matter.
meme GL, boys. It's the meme GL. It's the best European broadcast tournament of all time.
That it is. Luke Hale thinks so too as he ends up going down. Big Group does end up using the Rhodes offensive. Again, fighting before the Taka power spikes. That's exactly what they were trying to do and exactly what they failed to do as well. Asteroid now has to just defend this turret, although no minions actually to tank up those turret hits. So they are actually just going to have to back off. No turret to take just yet. Oh man.
Yeah, ideally they'd want the aftershock before they sort of find these executing fights onto the Celeste, but level 6 has been hit by Lucael, but he didn't have that aftershock as Krizior gets dove under tower. The fountain comes out just to keep Baby Groot safe as well. Again, every early game completely and utterly catastrophically dominated by the 90 Degrees roster. And George, you mentioned it quite a few times. They need to be safe and careful with this lead this time round.
They do need to be. They're 7-1 right now with a 2,000 gold lead at 7 minutes. That's not even big either. That 2,000 gold lead, considering the kills. You got to kind of keep that in mind. Gold miner is available, but the problem is I can see right now Lucael has picked up that aftershock, so a big power spike for him. But he is 4-0, 0-4, not 4-0. I bet he wish he was. And now Baby Groot is just going to jump straight on, and those heartthrob stacks stacking up. He is very scary. He is once again single-handedly carrying the early game for the rest of his team, like he did in game number 2. And now it is part 2's job to scale up into the late. They're going to try for this turret dive here. Divine Intervention does come out. Wait for it. Also, is going to just land on the back line. Solar Storm to dissuade Lucael, takes the majority of that damage. Baby Kale is going to pop the potion. Just Baby Kale, Baby Groot. Kale is actually what I'm eating a bit later. That's why it's in my head. Heliogenesis is actually going to execute Lucael. And Kale on the thing. I shouldn't have said the Kale thing. And Lucael also confused me too. But anyway,
Baby Kale. What a great name.
Kale. Is that a kind of fruit? Not fruit, vegetable. Oh my god. All right.
Are you a professional caster, Jules?
I need to go to bed. Well, turret's going to fall. Heartthrob Stag stacking up on Asteroid. Does use that potion to get away, but look at that executing damage. Baby Groot does end up secure the kill. They do take the first tier turret again. 3 games in a row they've done this. That's about.
She sells seashells by the
On
seashore.
the seashore. It's true. She does too.
Oh, it's been an entertaining game so far, but 90 Degrees just looking to roll them through. What am I having for dinner? Is this what you're asking me, Dowsy? I am having... well, I actually already had it. I cooked it myself.
Had it.
Oh, Twitch chat. Oh, I see Twitch chat. What are you having for dinner? Dowsy has flown in a message for you guys in Twitch chat. What are you having for dinner today? I had a cod Forster cod.
A cod Forster core. That is a beautifully sounding dish. Chrysler trying to take that gold miner away. Is actually just going to go over 290 degrees. Lucael taking the majority of that damage. The Quiver doesn't end up stunning just yet. Not overloaded that skill. However, that Divine Intervention will come through and heal up the Black Feather. Executing damage way too much. Asteroid can't get away. Not too much kiting in his kit after he uses the Sonic Zoom. And now Baby Groot, all he needs to do is one Heliogenesis. He does just that. But Lucael's just not quite finished. That beautiful core collapse. Won't end up saving his life. It did look flashy nonetheless. Kaka, it does go into the chitin. Will he be able to do anything? He's in a 1v2 situation. Benediction comes through. Baby Groot, a little bit too fed for him actually to 1v2 in that situation.
Yeah. I've got to say, that core collapse was really nice. The prediction of the chitin there, obviously straight out of chitin into the core collapse, it looked very flashy. Might not have saved his life, but it certainly potentially set up the kill, which allowed them to push a little bit further. And 90 Degrees have been very tempered, maybe going for these tower dives, slightly unnecessary, but they are getting the kills out of it right now. The Goldmine not stacked enough to take it. They were too low to go for the Crystal Sentry. It'll just be a reset, gain more items, and look for another fight.
12-2 now, extending that lead, and now they are pushing that gold. A couple of minutes ago, 3 minutes ago exactly, it was around 2,000 gold. Now it's 5,000 in the bank. for 90 degrees. They've taken one turret. They're looking to march on the tier 2. That gold miner was secured by them as well. Remember, that's where the majority of the gold has come from. Now, Lukel is starting to come online on this Taka, but it seems a little bit too late. His early game damage against the Celeste and his early game viability against the Celeste is very apparent, but right now, very hard for him actually to isolate him. And the one time he did end up getting taken out as well. 2-man Quibble will end up landing, but I can't imagine they're going to just go for an all-in engage just yet. As you know, Baby Groot, he's got 3 items and he's looking so strong.
I do like what he's doing though. He's like sacrificing defense, knowing the only way that they win this game is if he just goes for maximum offensive capability and look to burst Baby Groot Part 2 as much as possible. Baby Groot Part 2 keeping his range where he can, trying to keep himself out of the X-Retsu range, but there is the X-Retsu.
X-Retsu straight on top of the Celeste in the back line, does get held up with the Divine Intervention. The Black Feather's going to kite back as well. Asteroid finds himself in a 1v1. Crystal does get the stun onto 2 people, is big, but the Solar Storm's even bigger. Wait for it's going to silence 3, but apparently that doesn't matter at all. Full Collapse only lands on the Finn, but in the back line, Baby Groot and Luke Hal in the 1v1. Heliogenesis will land himself with a lot of damage, but doesn't matter, because apparently Kumi Quinn just wanted to just get taken down regardless. Just tried to kite, tried to get the damage off, but it just wasn't enough. X-Rasu onto the back line. Baby Groot does end up having to back off. No boots, no mobility left in his kit. Heliogenesis is the only thing dissuading the rest of Team Verdict. They are in a 1v1 situation right now. Core Collapse does land. Baby Groot actually just might be able to take him out if he steps forward. Local will be able to get out alive, but taking that Grace down, the majority of that healing in that fight was exactly what they needed to do, and they pulled it off beautifully.
And Lucael, again, the offensive build right there, able to weave in and out of those Heliogenesis, isn't really being threatened by a huge amount of damage right now. They caught 90 degrees off guard. You know, you overextend into the polite company, it drags you in. That gave the opportunity for Lucael to open up with the X-Retsu, and immediately Baby Groot Part 2 was forced on the defensive. And you can see they're taking no chances this game. No chances for Baby Groot Part 2. He's already got some tier 2 shielding in tow. Heavily delayed, by the way, because it is the Celeste jungle. Heavily delayed on a 3-item build. He's only sitting on 2 items right now. So this is what happens when you're in the jungle. Your gold income is a lot lower. So your item spikes are going to be a lot later. But you hit those level spikes a bit more quickly. So the damage output from Celeste is going to be very limited at this point in time. But has gone for the Aegis early on to protect herself against Lucael.
Yeah, very defensive itemization from Baby Groot as well. I want to point that out. Not something we saw him do last time. He's got the Aegis and the metal jacket, so respecting that. Beautiful force to cord, actually. Was expecting that to get blocked. A nice Divine Intervention will heal them up, though. Core Collapse onto 2 people. That's going to be really big. Lucael going very low in the back line. They can jump straight on top of him. Solar Storm is going to come through. Only hit cries. Asteroid just kiting back on that box. X-Retsu on to Baby Groot Part 2, but he's now in a 1v3. That Core Collapse was good, but the damage from Baby Groot was even better. Asteroid now just trying to deal majority of that damage, but Baby Groot just cannot be stopped at this point. They managed to take out the Finn, and now Asteroid finds himself in a nightmare zone. He will end up going down. There goes the turret as well. The ace is going to get found, and this will be 90 degrees back in the base.
Oh, Crizio trying so hard to carry with some of these quibbles. They have been fantastic, but the core collapses were better. Baby Groot Part 2, so influential with the placement of those. Kind of kept Lucael on the chain in the middle of that fight, and that allowed Baby Groot Part 2 to build up some obscene amount of breaking point stacks. And when you build up breaking point stacks on a Black Feather, you are going to hit very, very hard indeed. They're going to steal away some more of these jungle camps. It's a fully stacked gold miner at this point. You feel like they have to contest it if you're on the side of Team Verdict. You are heading towards your late game builds though. 3 items on the Vox already. You're now starting to stack up some armor. Lucael has got his Broken Myth breakpoint, so he's gone for some shielding too.
They're going to jump on Asteroid. X-Retsu straight on to Baby Groot. Baby Groot Part 2 is making his way to the fight as well. Those Heliogenesis are going to start to stack up. Divine Intervention to keep Baby Groot alive, but he's going to get stunned up actually by the Quibble, but it doesn't matter apparently. The X-Retsu does land to Baby Groot. Core Collapse will just chase him away, and now Chrysor is the one getting chased. He is now in no man's land and does end up going down. Double kill for Baby Groot. They've already broken the base, and now 15 minutes perfectly timed fight will result in the Kraken as well.
And that was a 2 versus 3 as well. I was about to call 90 degrees out for their over-aggression, but they actually make the 2 versus 3 work. Didn't even need Baby Groot Part 2 for the most part. Baby Groot just runs in at full force. Divine Intervention giving him the longevity in these brawls versus Asteroid. And they get the Kraken for their risky play. It was risky in the sense that it was just a pure man advantage over for Team Verdict, and Crizio has been hitting some ridiculous quibbles over the course of his Finn play in this series, but 90 Degrees, high risk, high reward play right there, come away out on top.
And they do. Kraken now marching on down the lane. This is going to signal Team Verdict's death if they don't do something right now. I mean, I'm looking at Asteroid, and he's not really done much in these fights, and not because he's got no damage, it's because he can't. There's absolutely no way you're going to be able to run away from Baby Groot. He's targeting him now more often than not. He's trying to get the breaking point stacks up, but he just can't seem to do it. Kraken's marching in. This might spell the doom.
Again, they ran in straight at them. They're going to continue with this Kraken using Celeste's range to try and siege these turrets down. Asteroid takes an aggressive maneuver here. It's a very good move from them.
Part 2 does end up falling down. Luke Hale doing a very good job of just assassinating him. They still need to deal with that Kraken though. Divine Intervention is going to come out and heal with Baby Groot up. Does manage to take out an Asteroid. Now Luke Hale has to make his way back to the base.
Oh, the damage!
Execution damage! Oh my goodness, where did that even come from? 90 Degrees, they're going to take game number 3, and we'll see you guys in playoffs.
Wow. The Faint of Heart reset, the chain kills there, unbelievable damage with the amount of breaking point stacks that Baby Groot had in that fight. He had the Bone Saw as well, so was starting to shred through Asteroid's armor on that metal jacket. Really, it was a decisive move from Asteroid and Lucael, but while you try and dive in on the Celeste, you're also grouping up and allowing yourself to get hit by Baby Groot over and over again. It was a tough game. Again, early advantages were not wasted by 90 Degrees. They probably were the deserving winners in this series. We'll see them in the playoff battles.
Insane. 16-0-1 to Baby Groot. The double attack speed, sustain build that he had for himself, Bonesaw, breaking point, 2 stacking items, and unkillable. Literally in that last team fight, absolutely unkillable. Managed to 1v3, essentially. After Divine Interventions had been used to try and keep Baby Groot alive, he managed to turn that around and just show that, you know, Baby Groot Part 2's in Game 1, his Black Feather was pretty good. Baby Groot, the OG, seemingly better. We're going to say hello to 90 Degrees. They are through to the playoff bracket. Now, there is just 2 more teams to decide who will be joining the rest of the dudes in the playoffs. It is going to be Helldivers versus THN Envy. Going to be bringing you that game in roughly 15 minutes time. So, guys, stick around. We'll be back then to bring you the final series of tonight.
Feet off the ground, head to the sky. Yeah, wind by my side. You in my
Oh, the hero comes, I can hear the drums and a horses run to the kingdom come through the pale moonlight. Hearts ignite to the call. Oh, claim your prize for a crown of stars in the name of love. Be the sacrifice. You and I will stand and fight our backs to the wall. Oh, hero,
Guys, it's time for our final series of the VGL Autumn Group Stages. One more set of teams to play to join us in the playoff brackets. It's been a pretty entertaining broadcast so far, and why don't we have a look at how this playoff bracket has started to form. As you can see there, in the winners round, we have Team Queso versus Norm Picani, Fluffy Chickens versus Audacity Gaming, some very hype matchups to be sure next week when we start our playoff bracket. You can already see this elimination bracket start to fill out as well. E-Monkeys will be up against 90 Degrees. Magic Cloud, Offstream, were able to defeat their opponents and make it into the elimination bracket of the playoff as well. And now we get to decide which one of these two teams will be going up against Magic Cloud next week. It is, of course, Helldivers, very well known in the VGL, up against TH and Envy to decide who will be joining us. So, of course, I have my friends, my pals, my memers in arms, Excoundrel versus Jaws in the memes. Basically, that's what they do for a living, is they cast games and they meme Twitch
Correct.
chat.
Correct.
They also leave lobbies just as
Twitch
we're
chat.
about to jump into draft, but we won't call Jaws out for that.
Yeah, sorry, my iPad locks itself, so that's what it was.
Ah.
My bad.
Professional
Come back in.
memer, Jaws the caster right here.
I
Locking
can
his
apparently
iPad just as we're
operate an
about to
iPad.
start it.
Yeah, Well, I didn't lock it. I didn't lock it. It locked itself. That's technology's fault for putting itself to
Technology's
sleep.
fault. There you go. We're going to be jumping into
There we
draft,
go.
boys. It's been pretty entertaining, I think, this 2.8 patch. The picks that have come through have been pretty exciting. And I reckon we're going to see more of the same, Scoundrel.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're good at those, aren't you? Good at analysis.
I'm great at analysis. Let's see what happens here. I think THNV is a team that we've actually featured on stream quite a few times over the last few months. I seem to remember when I was hosting VGL, I was always putting the THNV logo in, so it's pretty common that we see these guys coming through.
You just do that to random teams, though. You're like, 90 degrees, yeah, THNV logo sounds good.
Yeah, well, when I didn't have the logo, which sometimes happened, I did just find a logo that had a similar lettering and just put it up there for the team.
We'll have to
Secrets
see.
of VGL hosting unveiled.
This crew ban coming through. It's surprising that we're not seeing a Petal. Well, I don't think you first picked Petal on his side. That would be ridiculous. But maybe it's indicative of a Petal to come through some point in this draft.
We will have to see, my friend Dalsy, my buddy, my pal, my long-time friend Arino.
Oh god. What time is it? It's only it's 10 to 8 in the UK. Is the fever catching up to you again?
I haven't been feeling great this whole broadcast. I will let you know that right now. But I feel like I can make it through.
Oh, that's very graceful of you. As Grace gets locked
I'm
in.
bringing the top tier Vainglory analysis right now, my friends.
It's alright. I'll keep pinging you random little nuggets of information.
It's good because I can't think for myself, so I'm just using Dalsy's thoughts.
Yep.
How? How are you using Dalsy's thoughts?
Dalsy's sending me his thoughts
apart
telepathically,
from that.
Jaws.
Oh, right, okay.
Telepathically, because we have that strong bond of being in tier 10 in Vainglory, which you are not. We're allowed to telepathically communicate because that's the position that we're in.
Oh my god.
When you stop trying to play CP Lyra every single game, then maybe we'll be able to telepathically.
I've been abusing Scar.
Wow, is that the thing? So we've got Tasty Bacon's Weapon Power Ard, and we have Humanist Ozo, and we have Jaws' CP Lyra.
Yeah. I do really enjoy CP Lyra. It's fun as hell.
Cool. Well, I'm going to do some analysis of this draft because there has been none so far. Glaive and Lance locked in for Hell's Divers up against an Idris Blackfeather Grace. Very strong composition.
You just named the heroes.
No,
now,
very strong composition.
Some pretty solid analysis coming out right there. Just naming the heroes.
TH and Envy has probably the strongest composition on 2.8 right now. The Blackfeather going to be very threatening to the Scarf. Looks like it's going to be a jungle Scarf as well, so not going to be hitting the power spikes that we normally see. Perhaps could go to the lane. All depends on what Helldivers want to do here, Jaws. They will be playing up against Magic Cloud if they win, as would TH and Envy. That's how this thing works. Let's go on to the Halcyon Fold for this game.
Thank you very much, Dowsy. Here we go. Helldivers versus THNMV. Game number 1. Now, let's be real, Eric Scoundrel. Let's be all too real with ourselves. You were born real.
I wasn't born imaginary. I was born real.
You're born real. No fakes here. No fakesies. You're born. You see, that sounds like a start of a rap song. I was born real. You were born. Man's not hot.
Man's not hot. Man's not real.
hot.
Man
Man's
can
not
never be real.
She said, "Take off your jacket." Nah, man's not real. No. I absolutely adore that meme. If people can link more stuff in Twitch chat of that meme, I will happily consume it in my free time.
Absolutely. I 100% consume Man's Not Hot on a regular basis.
Have you got the source?
So I actually think in terms of late game team fights and late game compositionally, TH and Envy have got, like Dowsy said, individually maybe some of the strongest heroes in the current meta, like CP Idris, incredibly strong, Black for the jungle, very, very strong. All of them have their specific role in this particular fight. Or this particular sort of game, obviously with the Scarf being in Weapon Power, Black Feather's good in that respect. But if Helldivers can get ahead here, they can snowball things really easily. What is Highest Stand doing? Okay, he's buying time.
Yeah, he's buying time. He's using those boosts to get away. Did pull the potion as well, although a little bit of that gold did go over to Penguin of War. Did steal away one of those little camps, so we'll get at least something for his troubles. It's going to take this forward healing camp away as well, unless the Benediction steals it. Doesn't in the end. And, oh, Zoxane did manage to rotate down towards the lane. I thought maybe they just had a kill potential on there, but no, big tree is going to get taken away, but it will land in the back pockets of Helldivers. So very aggressive jungle rotation. And, I mean, Hosane's, he's kind of known for his lance anyway. He's carried on it multiple times in the VGL.
Jaws is tagged on to Harry. He's finally found the live channel. finally using it, my friend. You're now part of the telepathic group. Welcome.
Thank goodness. I'm the only
welcome to the telepathy.
Tier 10 player. Unlucky, I guess. Just unlucky teammates. That's what I tell myself every day.
That's, I think, what every Vainglory solo queue player tells himself every time they play solo queue. Anyway, Zoxane here on this weapon power glaive, and again he's got the minion candy in tow. It's something that we've seen on this current update a bit more and more frequently because of the first turret having such low HP as well. So if you get that opportunity to push in, it also helps you de-push a wave as well. If you know that you're going to get pushed in and you spam a minion candy, as we just see a brilliant gank.
Oh man, that is a wrong place, wrong time. That goop is such a formidable tool, a little bit underrated as well. You don't think much of it, but that's slow, just hindering the ability for the Idris to move.
Goop's the most broken ability in the game right now.
Also that. Well, sometimes what I meant to say was sometimes you just don't think about it as someone like an Idris, as you are so mobile, right?
I think you don't think about the
Tier 6 analysis.
Okay, guys, just to explain, we have a channel where Dowsy can talk to us via the modem of text, or the medium of text, and sometimes he just throws in little bits of commentary during the broadcast. He just typed tier 6 analysis, Jaws. So just so we all know. Goop, I think what you're trying to say is you don't often think about the slowing power of Goop, because most people think about the obscene amount of damage it does if you ignite it. So I think you're right in the sense that you often don't realise how slow it actually makes you if it's positioned in that kind of area. He had to walk over the goop there, and that gave him so much time to just get absolutely torn apart. So it's something that people often forget, that goop actually can be used as a peeling tool. Goop can actually be used to set up ganks as well if you can position it correctly. It's not just a damage dealing tool, it actually has some utility in it as well.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you very much.
And you articulated it perfectly.
No, I didn't. That's the exact opposite of what I did.
That's
Look at that vision
sarcastic.
control already. I know. I'm just trying to like mull over it. Oh goodness.
It's okay, mate. This is the time to have fun.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have fun with the Vainglory broadcast, Vainglory League is all about fun and playing with your friends, and that's why we have fun here.
Exactly. Having a lot of fun right now. I'm having a lot of fun. THN, not so much. Getting kind of bullied back right now. I mean, what's the kind of danger here is if this glaive does get anywhere near Fed. He's already got this Sorrow Blade, already quite a formidable force. But I mean, the thing is, Penguin of War started off really good as well. He's now got the Frostburn in his back pocket. He's got a kill on the board as well. The setup potential is just massive. And speaking about setup potential, look at that chain CC. Only just managing to get out alive, and a triple Holy Nova actually coming out from Dorcas there just to make sure they couldn't progress any further. Incredible play by the Grace.
Yeah, Holy Nova into a Chakram in a line as well. That's how it did so much damage. Level 6 on the weapon power Blackfeather.
Oh, does get repositioned though into the Githian wall as well to put him even closer to Penguin of War and to Zoxane. My goodness, he was over before it even blinked.
A common misconception about the Rose offensive, by the way, as we just see a brilliant setup by Highestan. I was told how good his lance was, and he's certainly proving it in this game. A common misconception about Rose offensive, by the way, is that you're invulnerable during Rose offensive. That is just not the case. You just can't be hit by spell effects. You can still die during Rose offensive. You can still get basic attack during Rose offensive, and that's what we just saw there from Josler. Got basic attack by glaive and just hit the floor. Common misconception is that you're completely invulnerable during Rose offensive. The matter of fact is you're not.
Well, as we just saw, now he knows that as well, if you didn't know already. Now this it just will start to scale up, and he has got a Shattergast in his back pocket as well. So the thing is, when does he really start to come online against this comp? He's gonna have to play so safe. Not even come online. Sorry, let's get rid of that thought. When is his ability to move into the fight? How are they going to play these? Because Blackfeather wants to dive onto the back line, but looking at all the CC already on the board, this Lance, this Glaive, they've pinned them together so perfectly. They've coupled them together so perfectly already. It's going to be extremely hard for this Idris to really maneuver around it. If he gets caught up, he's more than likely dead.
I think both of these compositions are actually fairly even in what they bring to the table. You know, a weapon power glaive is going to threaten a CP Idris. A weapon power Blackfeather is going to threaten a Scarf. But you have plenty of peel. You know, especially with Hayastan on his lance. He's a very, very good lance play. He's setting up so nicely. Wonderful chaining.
Pale straight into the afterburn. Again, he was gone in the blink of an eye. Minion Candy used once more to pressure that turret down. It's exactly the same thing that happened 2 minutes ago. They set it up perfectly. The chain CC is just way too much. That's going to be first turret going down as well. Beautiful Holy Nova onto 3 members again. Dragon's Breath is going to get unleashed, but Penguin Rewards doesn't have enough damage to seem to follow this one up. He is definitely vulnerable in the backline now. Rose Offensive on top of him, and that will be another kill for the Blackfeather. Now just chasing down Hayastan. He will be able to get underneath that turret in time. But 2 for 1, well, 2 for the turret and 1 kill, I guess, if you count the delayed Idris kill. It's still going to be worth in my books for Hell's Divers.
Ayastan's just cleaning and holding these waves for as long as possible. Juzzler takes a little bit of damage from the turret, and Zosain is already back in fighting action here. Spyro will have to be careful. He can actually get taken down pretty quickly. It's a 2-item spike for this weapon power glaive right now. A lot of damage coming out for him, as well as the sustain that the Poison Shiv is going to provide. And again, Poison Shiv kind of needed in this game. You might say, oh, there's options to be a bit more aggressive with the critical strike build, but Poison Shiv pretty much needed because you have a Grace in the opposite team, so I'm going to try and reduce the efficacy of that Divine Intervention if you get the opportunity. But brilliant use of the space created by the backs coming out from THN Envy here as Helldivers secure that neutral gold miner, just knowing that they had the time to do so because everybody from THN Envy was quite low and had already backed off. And again, really nice decisive action from them there, right there.
Another decisive play here, and Pell does land onto the Idris. Another reposition. Look at that CC. Shimmer Strike, though, used to get out alive, and that's going to be a Divine Intervention used. In fact, the Glaive is just going to pay the price here if he's not careful. Does get taken out by an on point, I believe, just through all of them. Beautiful use of the Shimmer Strike there by the Idris. Does manage to get out alive. SP, Spro 1, I guess?
I say Spyro, personally.
Spyro? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Is there one? I guess the one is supposed to be an eye, Spyro, yep.
I think...
Spyro the Dragon.
Exactly, Spyro the Dragon. If you're old enough to remember the original on the N64. Oh, was it PS1? It was on PS1.
Yeah, PS1, yeah.
Yeah, it was, that was a great game.
Enter the Dragonfly on PS2 is one of my favourites.
Something that we're seeing be a problem here is now that we've got post level 6 for Idris, we're not able to instantaneously burst him. He's picked up a bit of shielding. Once he uses that Shimmer Strike, you see that Zosain is kind of lost for what to do. Does he start changing his offensive tactic onto Dorcas or Juzzler, or is he kind of wait for another Afterburn to come off? And by that time, Juzzler is building up those Heartthrob stacks, chunking through his targets, and finds that Execute onto Zosain there. So, you know, Juzzler is sort of relishing and sort of reveling as we have another fight.
Another Afterburn, another Impale, and another Githian Wall. Didn't even need the goop at that point. Yeah, I mean, as soon as one person's locked up, that's pretty much the end of days for them, realistically. The divers will dive them. Chain CC is king.
Pretty broke. Hasn't really bought them a huge amount here, Jaws. I'm going to just give you a quick 10 seconds while I go and grab some tissue and blow my nose.
Absolutely. Another Githian Wall, another Impale, another goop. There we go. Apparently that is a recipe for success for Hell's Divers. They are going to push onto this turret, however. Scarf very good at dealing with it from range. However, they don't have the minion wave in their favour, so they are looking just to back off here, possibly. And in fact, Zoxane taking a lot of damage. He's got a lot of half-rob stacks as well, and they do actually just settle for the gold miner here. Although fairly low. We'll see if they want to contest this. Dorcas trying to come in. Yeah, they are going to be able to spot him out with a flare, so they aren't actually going to be able to finish that one off.
And they're going to go again. Gold miner, not quite full, so they're not going to take it just yet. There's a little bit for it to build up a bit more, and they'll get warded off by Grace there. They don't want to throw away any advantages that they've picked up by taking an awkward fight around that gold miner. Going to be backing off. Scarf. It's actually got a double chronograph in tow here. Interesting build. Let's see where he goes with it. I'm wondering whether that was a mistake or not. I imagine one of those will go towards a clockwork, as that's the pretty standard 3-item build that we've seen open up a lot on these carries.
Yeah, I mean, you could get the charges with that as well. Oh no, that's an engine battery.
Yeah, you need a void battery.
Yeah, void battery, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see if that was a mistake. Joslu is going to dive into the back line. The execution damage is going to be able to finish off that Scar. Divine Intervention used once again on Joslu. He's going to heal him up quite nicely. Now they're going to be able to deal with that Scar fairly easily. This is going to be their point in time where they can actually just pressure him down when he hasn't got those items just built up. He's only got 2 completed items thus far. That Black Feather, more than happy to be able to deal with it. With that Poison Shiv as well, it's got the sustain he needs.
And you see these fights now. Josler's hitting certain item spikes. Spyro's hit that alternating current, which is going to give him a bit more team fight prowess in general. Going to put onto this gold mine. Take a big global gold chunk in their favor. I'm going to close that gap. It's still about 2 and a bit thousand, but they're starting to get a bit more manageable for TH and Envy as Spyro works towards what is likely going to be his broken myth next. Josler, tier 2 boots, picked up tier 2 shielding as well, and you can see Penguin of War doesn't really have that much damage right now. That's the problem. Doesn't really have any damage. He's got 2 items for Scarf, which is decent, but it's not exactly going to be winning you games. You know, double chronograph is great, but it just the damage output isn't huge at this point. You really need that broken myth to start coming online in these fights. I don't mind the clockwork 3rd item build on Scarf. I think it's okay. I definitely prefer it as a 4th item for Scarf as opposed to the 3rd item that you'd often see on Celeste. Because the broken myth is just so powerful for your Dragon's Breath, and especially against a composition like this where Dragon's Breath can be the saver in these fights, you really want to be hitting those big broken myth Dragon's Breaths with the Scarf, and by going this particular build you kind of lose that. You lose that tool in your team fight kit, which is a massive part of why Scarf is good in team fights.
I mean, they are going to be able to siege up this tower. I mean, that's what the Scarf does enable, is this siege, this long-range chunk of this turret with those Spitfires. But, I mean, Dorcas right now has been playing out of his mind on this Grace. If he can play like that, and if he can just pin it down that Scarf and just then be able to support this Black Feather as soon as he gets on top of him with the ults, it's going to be very easy for them to zone out. And it's as soon as that CC is used, as soon as those cooldowns have been popped by the Lance and the Glaive, there's not really much else they can do. Speaking about cooldowns getting popped, Impale is going to get thrown out, and this is exactly the opportunity I was talking about. Divine Intervention will come through. We'll heal out the Black Feather in the end. Spyro just dashing forward, able to just pick up 1 kill. Joslu is going to be able to finish it off with an on point. It's exactly what I just demonstrated. As soon as you blow those cooldowns for the CC, they just jump on you and you will die.
The problem right now, I think, for Helldivers is that I would have done this the other way around. I would have had a Glaive. Oh, wait a second.
Oh, hang on a second here. Yep. Okay. Well, he just died instantaneously. There's absolutely no way you can stop this dive composition, it seems.
The problem is that when you're facing up a CP Idris, yeah, it's great to have the Glaive lane matchup with the Idris, but you need to absolutely punish that advantage that you have in lane over the Idris. The problem now is that Scarf, especially with the way he's built, he's simply just way outclassed in terms of damage output to the CP Idris. I would have put the Scarf in the lane and put the Glaive in the jungle, and then you're going to get a huge amount of income onto the Scarf. He was sold that 2nd chronograph and now gone for the piercing shard, which was obviously a mistake, but that's delayed his build by a massive amount. And the broken myth is really the key item for Scarf in these fights, and until he gets that, he's not going to be able to match Spyro. Spyro has now single-handedly become a major threat. 0-4-3 and 3 items in a Journey Boots, which is Journey Boots is really interesting that he's prioritized that. I guess he's just so worried about getting locked down by Hayastan and Zosane, and wants that potential to be able to kite more effectively. TH and Envy in a really good spot, and Josler as well in these fights, even though he's only got 2 items right now, is a significant threat.
Well, they are on the wrong side of the battlefield. Spyro's going to get jumped on. Divine Intervention will heal him up. His kite back potential is absolutely huge. Glue not really helping out Penguin whatsoever. Another Divine Intervention will come out. They're going to be able to lock down that Black Petal with the Impale, but it doesn't matter because he's still going to be able to take out Penguin of War. Hasten just trying to dash away. There comes the Afterburn. It's going to stun him up, but another Impale does land. That's actually a 1-for-1 trade. And a shutdown going on to the Black Feather. Joker still pushing forward. That Treant's going to provide a little bit of nuisance to both sides, but still, Helldivers, they are going to be able to secure that, but the health pools remain in THMB's favor. They are going to find that Idris. Their Holy Nova does come out, but it's actually going to get blocked by the Githim. Wow. Beautiful use. Knocks her away, and they are able to secure the kill onto Spyro. They might be able to find the ace here. They do. 7 seconds left on the board. Kraken is now available, and they're just going to start that one up. Scarf responds.
That's the chain CC of this Helldivers composition that does actually bring a huge amount of power to the table. If you if you actually chain CC onto the Idris and you can actually burst him out, you've got a huge amount of power. You know, even if it isn't the Idris, well, they're going to go straight onto the Blackfeather here.
Oh man, yeah, Blackfeather's caught alone, high and dry. Kraken does go over to Helldivers. Did want to try and make a steal, but just couldn't make it work. There's the Impale. Chain CC lands once again, and they'll take a Crystal Sentry for their worries as well.
And Penguin of War now needs about 1,000 gold or so for his Broken Myth. Starting to do a bit more damage now that he's got the Piercing Shard and the Chronograph, though, so it's not like he's doing the pitiful amount of damage that he had previously, because he has got that Clockwork passive of the CP increase also. Now that Higher Stand's also got the Echo, you know, that is like an Impale into Afterburn, into Githium Wall, into Githium Wall, onto a single target. That's a long amount of time that they're not going to get.
Oh, speaking about getting CC'd, I think was the word you were trying to look for. Spyro does end up going fairly low, but is healed up. Those chakrams are really starting to chunk down, but their target will be that Kraken. At least they've broken the base. I mean, one Kraken for the one turret isn't all too worth sometimes, but when it's cracking that base turret, it's extremely important because one team fight right now could signal the end of the first game.
Well, Penguin's definitely got enough for his Broken Myth right now. So that's a pretty huge item boost for him. He might also be able to get tier 2 armor. You can see he's actually prioritized armor over the need for a reflex block, because realistically there isn't anything that he wants to reflex block right now. Doesn't really need to reflex block anything in particular. There's nothing huge that you're going to want to have to make sure you're blocking every single time. Maybe the Holy Nova, but he's very unlikely to be in range of Holy Nova. So this is one of those games where reflex block isn't exactly necessary for Penguin of War, and he can actually just prioritize the armor to keep himself safe and healthy versus Josler.
Where do they look to now? Do they just they need to look for vision at this point in the game. They've got almost no base left. They got to be really careful because 2 out of the 3 members on Helldivers can just dash over the wall. I mean, Glaive does have a lot of damage at this point. Tension Bow, Sorrow Blade, even have a little bit of Poison Shiv damage as well. That weapon power is really starting to mount up, and if they're not careful, they could get backdoored. They've got to be pushing their vision line up, just making sure they can actually spot out any potential death pushes as well. When you're in a composition like this that has so much CC, that's one tactic you could use to find a pick off onto one person. So THM right now, THNMB, they need to just be able to stick on their targets. That target will be Penguin of War.
Gotta see Spyro has done something that's a little bit unconventional for a CP Idris. It's gone for 3 items. This really limits the CP Idris power ceiling. And actually, the energy regen, good for the him in some. I think he gets similar to Lance. He gets a bit of stamina regen from it, but also the ability to regen in fights. Just general for the Eve of Harvest passive, the ability to keep yourself sustained for the use of the chakrams and the basic attacks. They're going to give you that health back. That's a pretty important part of Idris's CP Idris's kit. The ability to kite and keep all of that health coming back to you. So the no Eve of Harvest in this build is really going to limit the ability to be that late game CP threat that we know the CP Idris to be.
Well, they're looking for another engagement. Benediction over the wall. He's going to get Githium all the way. He's looking for a Holy Nova, and he finds 2 of them. And on the 2 members that you maybe want, War Treads is going to get popped from Helldivers as well to get the kite away. Impale does end up missing. They're trying to get the Githium wall, and they do stun Spyro up. That's 2 massive stuns, but he's still alive. Shiver Strike does land onto somebody. Not sure who it was. But Hastings trying to run away. Massive Dragon's Breath onto 3 members, but he just gets stunned up and locked down and end up killed as well. Hastings did just exit the fight immediately, but did get taken out. That's going to be 2 kills going over to THN, and Kraken is next on the menu.
Wow, that was just really nice balancing of the singular targets there from THN. They were able to rotate in and out, and Blackfeather realistically in that fight was the one that was doing a huge amount of work. Spyro actually, wait a second, that was an almost attempted steal there from Zosane, but he won't get anything from it. He's actually going to get kited away from, and actually there will still be Kraken going over to THN Envy. And this has been such a back and forth game between 2 very closely matched teams.
I just can't believe how close this is. It looked so good in the early game for Helldivers. They got first blood, they got first turret, and they played off their advantage. They played around their composition, which sounds really silly and basic, but they played to their win condition, which was CC and lock up Spyro or the Blackfeather, and then just pushed away from there. But right now, THN are just finding ways onto the back line, finding ways to kill Penguin, and there's just no kiting potential, or when it does come out, there's just too many heals for them to deal with as well.
And actually, they tanked a 8-stack Dragon's Breath, like full face tank. That doesn't often happen. Very hard to make that work, and that was just shows you how healthy they kept themselves without that fight, because Penguin of War still couldn't get a kill with an 8-stack Dragon's Breath right there. Hayastan got the War Treads up. He's got scout traps coming through, just through the potential of a backdoor with the Idris and the Black Feather. He has to be careful of that. Even though 2 turrets are up, it shouldn't really be that much of an issue, as Penguin of War now has got the coat of plates, tier 2 boots, finished 2. Would maybe like to see Zosain have gone for a breaking point just to try and keep himself in this fight in terms of the long term, try and match the power of Josler, because Josler's only going to get more and more powerful as these fights go on, where right now, as Zosain has a very limited power output.
I'm going to try and go for a small engagement. Holy Nova does land on to the glaive. That's going to be Water spot as well, but Rose offensive and Nishima strike straight forward.
So much
very low. So much damage, but so much sustaining. Scoundrel Dragon's Breath, though. Beautiful Gideon Wall. Just lines them up perfectly, but they're still alive. Only just for the moment, though. Blackfeather's going to dodge out of the Impale. That was absolute beautiful play from Haston. Stunning them against the wall, and the Dragon's Breath just melted them where they stood. They're just going to end the game, it looks like. 23 minutes in, the death times are a little bit too long. What a play.
It wasn't just that as well. The Treant rooted them in the midst of that as well, so they couldn't even escape after they came out of the stun. EU Treant strike again. They're going to get the win in this game once more. Helldivers coming out on top. And you saw there, Grace did the only thing she could do, and it's something that Grace can do against Scarf. That Holy Shield from both Divine Intervention and Benediction can reduce damage to a target by 40%. So massive reduction in damage to Dragon's Breath. You saw it there with the Divine Intervention channeled onto Spyro. They tried to reduce the damage, but because they got rooted up for so long, they tanked the full force of it. No way they were going to survive. And THN go 1-0 down in this series, and Helldivers 1 game away from making.
That was insane to see the last team fight kind of be dictated by a Treant. It happens far too often here in VGL, and it seemed very likely that TH and Envy were on the rise, making a comeback. I have to say, not a fan of the 3 damage item Idris build, Journey Boots over Halcyon Charges. Just, you need energy or stamina regen, but it works the same way. Energy regen does in fact regen stamina, or else you once you use a single Shroud Step and Shrimmer Strike, you're out of energy, and you cannot throw Chakrams, which is one of your main damage sources, especially when you go Shadow Glass as well. So pretty rough damage output in the late game. Somehow Josler was kind of keeping them above floating level, keeping them in the game, but man, in the end, it did come down to that last team fight, and once you're that deep into a game, one mistake, one misstep, one Treant route basically can be the end of it all. 1-0 up to the side of Helldivers now, gentlemen, and this next game, you have to think for TH and Envy, perhaps they're going to be feeling a lot of pressure to come back into this and to be able to succeed, I think, in the late game.
Yeah, certainly think that they're definitely going to need to have a it's going to need to have a slightly shored up early game here, because they can't let that slip as hard as it did against a team like Helldivers, who are very proficient. Both of these teams have had, like I said, it's those very similar faces that you see get towards the end of VGL each time. It's very sort of common teams making their way back to the final sort of end stages. But these two are sort of stalwarts over the last few seasons, and both of them really deserve their chance to make it through, but only one can make it to the playoffs at this point, I think, unless this is the winner's bracket, in which both of them can still make it to the playoffs.
This is definitely the loser's bracket.
The elimination bracket.
Yeah.
Thank
These
you,
are the last 2 teams to qualify for the playoffs. No more teams after them. There's only one more spot left in the playoffs. 7 teams have qualified, and only one more can qualify, and it's out of these 2.
In a world where there are 8 qualification spots,
Jesus.
7 have already been filled. Only 1 remains. Will it be Helldivers, famed for diving into hell and stuff? Or will it be TH and Envy? And I can't think of anything to do with that, but it's a team and it's got an Envy in it, so it's pretty cool. Only time and battles on the Halcyon Fold will tell.
I love this Excandrel. The Lance ban coming out. Uber respect to Hayastan.
I love how you just.
I let you do your thing, and then you did an amazing segue. You last game, you were absolutely memeing it up, and then went. So I really like the skull. It was the most abrupt segue I've ever seen, but it worked, Excandrel, because we love you. Idris once more prioritized for Spyro. Respect ban to Hayasten's Lance. Like, this guy carries on Lance. He has absolutely destroyed me and carried me multiple times in solo queue. When I have the fortune of having him on my team and misfortune of going up against him. He is very strong. Now I'm going to be playing that Grace, taking it away from Dorcas. We'll have to see how they respond. Lyra coming through. We don't see much Lyra anymore here in Europe. And looks like Dorcas going to be showing us that Lyra is still a hero you can play.
I don't know why we've fallen out of love with Lyra, because Lyra is in my opinion, probably the second or third best captain in the game right now. Like, you can't beat Imperial Sigil in terms of the sustain that it provides you. It's just a ridiculous ability. I know in North America they still love Lyra in a lot of respects, but I still really like Lyra.
I'm a fan of Lyra as well. You know, with healing being such a hard thing to come by in the early game, can really just turn a lane matchup in your favor. Looks like we're going to have a fairly similar game here. The difference being, instead of a Black Feather, we're going to have a Rona, and instead of a Lance, we're going to have a Grace. Grace Lyra.
Basically the same game.
Pretty much the same. I think Black Feather was probably the key for the side of TH and Envy. The reason they were winning so many team fights, they did lose in the end. I'm very interested to see how Rona does, especially against Goop and Holy Nova. It just feels like that's a minefield for Josler to navigate.
I like the respect ban against Hayastan, like you said, though, Dalsy. I think it was definitely necessary. He for me, was MVP of most of those fights. I think he had an absolutely excellent performance on Lance in that last game.
Well, we are going to be jumping onto Halcyon Fold for potentially the final game of group stages. It is Helldivers one away from joining Magic Cloud in the playoffs, which will be played next week. So, Jaws, take us onto the fold.
Thank you, Dalsy, once again. And here we go. Scoundrel. THNAV up against Helldivers. Like I said, almost the same composition as last time, but I want to see this Lyra work with this Rona. It's going to be pretty terrifying. I mean, Rona is not something we usually see anymore. I mean, more often than not, she'd go up in the lane, this time stretching towards the jungle.
Rona is probably considered one of the best anti-melee heroes in the game, apart from Rhyme. Obviously, but Rhyme the more CP variant and Rona the weapon power variant. But Rona very good against heavy melee compositions. Very good into the likes of Black Feather. Very good.
Dorcas in a lot of trouble here. Gonna have to interrupt you real quick as that potion is ticking. Rona's trying to get the pain down into the fray used on Penguins of War. He's going very low damage reduction, but here comes the glaive. The afterburn, the turn and burn is going to be able to secure the kill, and that will be Glaive picking up first blood.
It was indeed, again, another early start here for Helldivers. Not something that you want to give to them if you're THN Envy. And, Josler is going to have a tough time on this Rona in this game versus the Scarf. It's very easy to kite a Rona, especially given that she only has one gap closer. She gets a little bit of a gap closer from her B, but it's in a very short range. So that's why the Sigil works so well with the Rona, because you can speed her up and she can keep her into the fray, literally. But you also have the ability to portal in and use the Bright Bulwark to limit the movement of the enemy heroes to allow Rona to function in that respect. But I just feel against both a Grace and a Scarf, she's going to have a really tough time in this game.
Now the Lyra's trying to get away now. Penguin of War is going to chase up Darkass. He's going to find that Spitfire and the kill. And Josio now using that interfray just to get out of the way. But it's going to get repositioned again. Zoxin having a really nice early game. Picks up his second kill.
Wow. If you wanted to come out and absolutely put a message on the fold that you are going to make it to that playoff bracket, Helldivers are certainly doing that and punishing and putting pressure. You saw how well that Holy Nova zoned Rona away, that allowed Penguin of War to secure the kill onto Lyra untouched, and then they were able to convert that into a 2 versus 3. Grace is so good into heavy melee simply because of that Holy Nova. And Hayastan, you know, you expect him to be using that at the prime time and prime opportunities, but it was a beautiful zoning tool that he used there to allow Penguin of Water to go and pressure that Lyra and turn it into a man advantage win for them. And Zossane as well, you know, Rona likes to be sort of untouched when she makes those kind of moves, and Afterburn stops her in her tracks. It stops her spin, it stops her spin up with her B, Foe Splitter. So it's, I mean, it just feels like draft-wise, again, Helldivers are in the driving seat.
It's looking all too good for them. I mean, this is what happened last game. They were able to just pressure the front camps. That's all they were doing. They weren't making any crazy back camp plays where they were flanking. They were just playing up in front of THM. They were just making THM to come to them to contest some of their jungle, and they were just taking advantage of that. You know, this glaive pick is really working out for them thus far, putting this scarf in the jungle to get a little bit more gold. And one thing that I want to point out as well, we're at a point in the game where they can make plays like this. This Idris isn't going to be able to do anything to respond with the damage. There's almost a tension bow completed here for the glaive, or the sorrow blade even, sorry. He might go tension bow a little later on. And this scarf is only going to get stronger. This CP Idris, it needs to be able to come online, but the punishment is taking. And with this first turret being under pressure already, this is bad news. Bad news bear, THN.
Unbelievable. Hayastan zones Josler away again, and it allows Helldivers to retreat over half of the damage done to that turret already from a singular goop. That's why Scarf is just so good right now. I think that, to be honest, one of the biggest changes that you can make to Scarf to make him less viable is do a Sky. Do a Sky with him and just reduce his damage to neutral objectives and structures with his goop and his burning damage, and that would make Scarf probably a whole less viable, no matter how much damage he does to heroes or whatever. That one of the main reasons people can pick up Scarf and do well with him right now is how easily he takes structures and objectives. So I imagine one of the changes that Scarf will see in the future is reducing his damage to structures and objectives, because that'll make him a little bit less viable than he is right now. But you saw how easy it is for him to just tear through those turrets.
That's exactly what I do. Just clear waves, take turrets. That's all I like to do. I do get caught overextending quite a bit though. That's my own fault. We need to admit my own faults, and that's
you are a tier
Josler's
6,
fault.
Jaws.
All right. Well, if people have only just joined the stream, Excander has been bullying me this whole time. That's how caster
What even
dynamics
is tier
work.
6? Is it like is tier 6? What's the name of tier 6 again? Is
Incredible
it Trash Can?
Oh my god.
Just kidding.
You are literally the worst. Good luck getting to VG Silver, mate.
Yeah, I need it.
Oh,
I'm joking.
man.
I'm joking.
Well,
by the way, anyone else is tier 6, you're not trash, it's just yours.
it's just, yeah, that's true. I do get caught overextending way too much. A guy was pinging me today, the caution ping, just kind of over and over again because I was extended way too far up against her. I did die as... Yeah, again, kind of was my fault. But this Scarf not doing so much. I mean, playing with a War right now, just outputting the damage he needs to. 300 damage per Spitfire. Joseph goes in, does get a red mist off, but that's going to be another couple of potions used, plus the Fountain actually used to keep them all alive. Holy Nova comes out. Dragon Burst is going to get charged up. No broken mist axe, not even needed. Zoxon does find a kill, and Drakos is going to actually have to back off. With that Bright Bulwark going down that early, it's just go time for Helldivers as soon as they see that cooldown.
Penguin of War. Can you just shove towards this turret? But again, they're doing such a good job of preventing those minions from letting the shield drop. And they're just holding that minion wave and kind of getting away with it for the moment. So they're grasping onto this first turret as it stands here, THNMV. The longer and longer they can hold onto this turret, the better it is for them, because it will allow this CP just to scale up, who has now got that Shattered Glass. I like that against the likes of a Scarf. You want to have that burst damage in combination with the Rona.
I'm speaking of Rona, they are just pushing towards this turret, at least getting a little bit of that damage down. Maybe they need to, because they're just not going to win out in these minion versus minion fights. Like there's too much wave clear on the side of Hellstarvers right now. Maybe they invest a little bit into minion candy. It seems like you just get that on, just push the wave in. Your minions will be way stronger. Yes, they're going to get taken down a little bit quicker, but it opens up the lane a little bit more and just allows them to go for maybe an engagement onto the back line without the need to worry about the minions.
Yeah, now the Shatter Glass is here for Idris. They're also able to clear waves really well, Jaws. Like they're just able to just stop that Scarf getting an easy access to the turret. What I think, you know, Helldivers are going to need to do is they're going to need to look to put pressure on a member of THNMV, although, let's be honest, actually, they might have just been caught with their metaphorical pants down as they get engaged.
Well, the passageway just come through by Bulwark comes out as well. That turret will end up falling here. Penguin of War doing a good job kiting back. The Dragon's Breath is going to zoom that Rona straight towards his mouth. That's exactly where he wants to be. There comes the Goop. The Spear will finish him off, and that'll be a Glaive getting another kill. 4-0 as they do execute that turret absolutely perfectly. It was, I mean, Drokos, he tried to make something work there, but at the end of the day, you got someone, a 3-0 Glaive, it's not going to work out.
Yeah, Dorcas killed off here, and that's going to allow Helldivers to just push on to this gold mine. Actually, they might be getting out-rotated slightly as Juzzler's going to try and hold the fray, and they will get Afterburn straight past, which will allow Glaive going to use that ultimate to clear the wave as much as possible. So, a lovely piece of work there from Zosane to clear that wave out, because the play that I think that THNMV were going for is they realised they couldn't contest the gold miner. Well, they probably could have contested the gold miner, but they didn't feel like they could, just given the state of the game right now. They were trying to push that wave up, take positional advantage with the Rona, who has that brush control, wait for them to face check so she can get a big old red mist off, and then that might allow them to either get some kills and then take the turret. So it was a good play by THNMV, but Zosane played around it really nicely, and the Afterburn allowed him to get over her and clear the wave out super quickly. And Helldivers looking like they want to secure this and take their position in the playoff bracket.
Well, Hayestan right now, he's got it all. He's got a fountain. He's got the second item, Echo. It's going to be very hard now for THN to execute a backline. Well, execute Penguin. He's the only one that wants to be sitting on the back line. Zosane, Tension Bow, Poison Shiv, and Sorrow Blade. Oh, it's the minion. That is unlucky. Doesn't matter. Penguin of War is going to be there with the damage. That's going to be the Echo used on the Divine Intervention. Look how much it... Oh my god, that damage on Spyro is absolutely disgusting. Into the Fray is going to get used. Dragon Breath on the back line as well. Another beautiful Afterburn. Just sending Rona right into the flames. And Dorcas just couldn't get out of there quick enough. They're going to push onto this turret. They are 6-0. They mean business, Excoundrel.
Yeah, no wave to work with here next to the turret, though, so they will be forced off here. Spyro and Dorcas doing their best to bat them away. Spyro's actually dead.
Oh.
I was about to say Spyro's actually gone for, but Spyro's literally just gone.
Yeah.
Spyro's actually gone for a second item, Broken Myth, here, after he just falls to an incredible Afterburn again from Zosane, who has been so on point with these the entire series through. Gone for a Broken Myth seconds. He's going to limit his potential to kite as easily, but it will give him the pure damage output if he can stack that up nicely with that Chakram. So just looking, I think, to do the maximum amount of damage with a Chakram here that he physically can. And also you're going to see Penguin of War going for Broken Myth first, which I actually prefer on the Scarf, by the way. You know, we talked about the Broken Myth versus the Clockwork third on the Scarf. I prefer Broken Myth on the Scarf simply because of how powerfully the Dragon's Breath synergizes with a Broken Myth. So I actually really like that for Penguin of War, and he's actually picked up the Piercing Shard too, so he's not too far off completion.
Oh, Afterburn on to the Rona. Now, Penguin of War taking a fair bit of damage already. Those, like you said, those Chakrams doing a fair bit of work, and that's what they're going to have to rely on, really. Their ability to chunk this Scarf out before anything happens, and then maybe go for an engage, but Zosane very good at making these engages, and he's going for one again. He has popped the infusion, mind you. And Spyro taking very, very low. Beautiful Holy Nova. Actually, onto 3 people that low like. Spyro going very low. Can't get the Chakrams out. Let's use the Shimmer Strike to get away. Passageway used also, I believe. Yep, both of those cooldowns now on the board. Gold Miner is almost full, and that'll be just be Helldivers cleaning up the rest of the jungle.
Sorry, I just laughed that Passageway, I believe, has been used. Giant Passageway on the middle of the fold.
It's because I was thinking, I was looking at both of them and didn't. Yeah, all right, whatever.
I know, Excadre, I believe there has been an arcade passage used. Jaws, yes, I see the evidence in the fold.
I was looking at the cooldowns, not the screen. All right, you call me.
I love you, bud.
Yeah, love my tier 6 noobness. Well,
it's okay. We'll get you there. We'll get you.
Okay. No boost, please. Well, maybe Spyro needs a boost right now because he is getting chunked out. He's just going to get chased out. Those Chakrams doing a lot of damage. Penguin War on the trouble on the back line. Rona spinning to win. Divine Intervention is going to heal up the Scarf. They already managed to just chunk Spyro out enough to get him out of the fight. There's going to be a beautiful Holy Nova. Is going to get stopped, but Zonan already trading up 2 kills.
Zosane.
Play from Zosane. Oh my god, head in hands. just dashes forward, picks up one, turns around, whoop-de-whoop, and picks up another. That was... Oh, I can't... This glaive. You just ran it away from him.
Absolutely playing a blinder right here. An absolute stonker, as Medic would say. Zosane is having a great game. And Josler hasn't yet hit one of the major items that Rona needs to be powerful in fights. Right, Rona's core items basically are some form of sustain and breaking point. So most people would say a standard build for Rona would be Serpent's Mask into Breaking Point. Breaking Point is an absolutely essential item for Rona to actually function as a significant threat in fights, because you just use Red Mist and you build Breaking Point stacks. You just use Red Mist and it builds Breaking Point stacks for you while generating fortified health, and then you come out of the Red Mist because you've run out of rage. You then use Foe Splitter and you start hitting like a truck because you've got those Breaking Point stats built up. There's another fight.
Well, I was going to say, speaking about hitting like a truck, already Divine Intervention used. Passageway has been used this time. I spotted it. They're all going to take it through. And Dorcas, yep, unfortunately, your enemies can use those ones too. Divine Intervention can be used again. Zoxane staying alive. Crystal Sentry is there, just beating them away. So at least they've got that for protection. The only thing that's really standing in their way of going down now. Sentry does end up falling, but they will be able to get recalls off most importantly. With Dorcas going down, they are able to get control of this lane. Gold, 9,000 in the lead. There's going to be another Afterburn. It is going to get blocked. By the way, that was beautifully timed. My goodness. Nice,
really interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting that we haven't seen, or we've seen very little Cruel over the last few days. NA, you know, they really love Cruel because they think he's incredibly powerful right now. We have barely seen any Cruel in European, and that, if you go back a year ago, NA would barely play Cruel at all, whereas EU would play Cruel all the time. People would say that Cruel was a European pick. Now that Cruel's actually really good, not many sort of European teams are picking up as much. I know he's been banned quite a lot, but when he's been open, people haven't really been considering him, which is just very interesting. Like, people have been picking Samuel and everything, but they just haven't really been considering Cruel. I just noticed because Humanist linked a video of me doing that really stupid intro, and Cruel was being hovered over in it, so yeah.
Oh boy.
I love Humanist.
I love yeah, just clipping all the funniest bits. that voice is so funny. When you, I think we've done it before in a cast, and you just
yeah,
head in hands, mate. Oh boy.
Why is it bad?
You're a special guy. I'm not saying it's bad.
It's a great voice.
It is a great voice. You work hard on it. You just sound like a wrestling commentator. That's what I like about it.
Oh, the Spitfire sniped through the dead turret and Penguin of War.
Hello. Oh my goodness. Didn't expect that at all. Spyro takes another one. Takes the goop as well. Ouch. Did actually force the fountain out, so that's going to be pretty big. Although 15 minutes on the clock. 1 and 10, by the way, at the scoreline. Haven't even been looking. Been more looking at the gold, if I'm all honest. That Kraken is now on the board. They're actually going to chase them through. That Crystal Sentry is going to get eliminated now. So that last line of defense now gone for THN. And their last line of defense as well is going to get almost choked up there. Shimmer Strike used on the glaive to get a bit of distance. Those Shimmer Strikes really starting to hurt. And those Chakrams too. That Red Mist just getting chunked out completely. Penguin of War very, very low. Spyro dashing forward. Benediction not enough to just subvert the damage coming towards the Scarf. Penguin of War takes a Chakram. Doesn't quite go down just yet, but will end up finding himself dying. Hey, Satan is going to... He's stand even. Jesus. That was well, you know, Helldivers, I guess, has got something to do with that. Anyway, Kraken is going to get taken. THN now, they're not going to be able to do too much of this, I can imagine. The Kraken is going to get chunked out heavily by this Scarf, and if Haston can do anything, if he gets the steal, it's going to be game over.
Iceland's waiting here. Has got the option for Benediction. You shouldn't really be able to steal from a CP Idris anyway.
There you go. No, it wasn't going to happen. Haystan, yeah, he's going to go down as well. Chakram, oh, not quite clipping him, actually. They do get the Kraken buff, though, so at least that's something.
Yeah, they get that regeneration coming back up. And now we'll eventually start to push through. He's now got 3 tier 3 items, 3.5 tier 3 items, so he's now catching up to the likes of Penguin of War, who's now got his 4th. Zosane's pretty much fully built at this point in time, just to finish up his armor item. Damn, this is a bit of a turnaround for THN. We have seen this before. They actually won a fight without a fountain as well, again, because Zosane pinpointed Spyro, who was able to use the Shimmer Strike to then leave Zosane in no man's land. And that's where Josler got into the backline and started to put a lot of pressure down. The Divine Intervention does come out for Hayastan here, and he uses the Echo immediately to bring it back off cooldown, but Man, this CP Idris is starting to do some serious work.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, look at the HP values from THN. They've got that Lyra sustain. Zoltan taking very, very low. In fact, he might just end up going down. Does use the afterburn to get away. That turret will fall very quickly. There comes the red mist. Divine Intervention instantly used. Didn't really want to mess with that at all. Wall treads to get away from as well.
They weren't letting Spyro's broken myth stacks drop. He had like 6 or 7 for that entire fight, and he was just absolutely crushing them. They're going to chase down, but Spyro's still holding on to broken myth stacks. They will eventually drop off here, but Helldivers look like they want to go for this. They've not got Echo up. They've not got Divine Intervention up. This is a risky play from them.
Yes, that it is. Haystan is gonna. I don't think he spotted them recalling, but I guess you'd kind of assume they'd recalled at this point. He could have gone for a cheeky interrupt, but you got to remember there are still 2 turrets in the way of that playoff position. The Helldivers are fighting for right now, and right now THN are fighting for their lives. They need to be able to pull this game back. They've managed to crack the base, and it's fairly even in terms of turrets, but still 10,000 gold in the lead are Helldivers. And Penguin of War, he's got 4 items, sorry. He's got the charges now. He's very quick. He's very mobile on the Scarf. They just need to find an entrance into the fight. Speaking of entrances, Zoltan taken very, very low already. Divine Intervention, that's 1 charge of it used. That might influence the fight coming into it. I don't know, though.
They're going to back off here. Haven't used Echo on Divine Intervention yet, so they won't be able to use it.
There's Spyro. That is Crucible was absolutely huge. Wartreads is going to get popped. It didn't actually stun him up, though. That was the big thing. Wartreads used from Helldivers as well. Spyro taken very, very low. Helldivers need to just be careful now. They are low on HP. Penguin of War being very, very aggressive here to reposition the Idris. He ends up going down. Drokos as well is going to fall. He goes down to the double kill of the Glaive. He's 9-1. And Josel just doesn't stand a chance. Pops the reflex block, but he knows he's good as done in this situation. He ends up falling. That's a delayed triple for the Glaive. That's going to be an ace. And Helldivers, they're just going to push towards the base.
They're going to try and win this right now. Kraken has respawned, so it's actually a fairly risky decision here for Helldivers because only 13 seconds on Spyro. They will have to face a full team. I don't know if they're going to be able to chunk through this quickly enough. It's going to be very, very close.
It's going to be very close. That Scarf doing a very good job of chunking through the first turret. 2 seconds left on Dorcas. Those minions are going to flood into the base. And actually, Scoundrel, they're deciding to stay here. They find Spyro. That reflex block used again, just used a little bit preemptively. And he does end up getting repositioned. Although using that Shimmer Strike to reposition himself to get out of there will result in Helldiver just backing away from the base.
They've got 1 minute now. 1 minute where actually CP Idris becomes a pretty viable target for them. That minute should be used to bait them towards Kraken. They have to make a play just based off burning that cooldown, and I think they're going to go for Kraken with that play. 35 seconds and counting right now for Helldivers, and that 35 seconds could secure them a place in playoffs.
Yeah, that it could. 20 minutes in. It's looking pretty good for Helldivers. They need to find a way in, and I mean, to be honest with you, Zayn's having a good job, and he's having a good day of just finding the way into these fights. Already used the afterburn. There comes the goop. Divine Intervention to heal them up. Dragon's Breath is going to get used to scare them away. And actually, Spyro taking a lot of damage here. That's just where used. They're actually going to follow that one through completely. Fountain also popped there from THN. They're going to jump on Spyro. He takes a Spitfire from downtown and ends up going down. That'll be another Divine Intervention on Penguins of War. He finds a double, he finds the triple, the ace, and that will be Helldivers going towards playoffs.
There we go, wonderfully executed. The portal, whilst it seemed necessary, actually basically pincered Spyro and Josler between the entire Helldivers team, and they couldn't make it back towards the fountain. So it was actually helping them out with that portal, believe it or not. Again, Zossane for me, you talk about anybody else, Hayastan had a great game on that first game, MVP on the Lance, but across this series, Zossane has been my MVP. Unbelievably good glaive play, really pinpoint precision with those afterburns, setting up so many good fights. Everybody from Helldivers played well, it's hard to name someone, but Zossane has been so consistent across both games, and I've been thoroughly impressed with the way that he's played, Dalsy.
Oh, for sure. I think Penguin of War, much better Scarf game this game around. I felt like in the previous game he really didn't do anything, but this game he was certainly a threat. Spyro once more, showing us that he loves just changing the Idris meta, was going to go towards a double broken myth. There's really not a reason to do so. Only Zozane has shielding. No one else on the enemy team has shielding, unless you want to count the fountain that Hayaston has. So I feel like if you're going to play a hero like Idris, and who's super strong right now, perhaps just research some of the meta builds and look to what your enemies are building, so you can kind of make a more educated decision, because it just wasn't doing enough. And its Josela was too far behind on the Rona. You made the point about breaking points, Rona kind of being that power spike, and it was just too far along the line for TH and Envy to really get that Rona online, and it unfortunately fell through the floor. Helldivers have done it. They've joined VGL teams in the playoffs. Let's have a look at the playoff bracket and how it stands. As you can see, first up, Team Queso versus Norm Picani, a first seed versus a fifth seed. Very good first game in that winners bracket. Fluffy Chickens versus Audacity Gaming, going to be a corker as well. Then in the elimination bracket, E-Monkeys versus 90 Degrees, 4th versus 8th, and Magic Cloud joining Helldivers in that final series of the first round of our playoff bracket. It's going to be very exciting. Next week, 3rd of October, 6 p.m. Central European Standard Time, it is going to be the VGL Autumn Split 1 Challenger Series playoffs. And we'll be deciding who can get closer to that Split 1 champion position. It's been a great broadcast. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Excoundrel and Jaws, thank you for joining me on this one. We will see you guys next week on Tuesday, 3rd of October, for the playoffs of the VGL Split 1 Challenger Series.
Put your hands in the air.